Welcome, 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 everyone, to a special edition of Ballroom Conversations. My name is Kenya Garcon. I am the co-chair of the Capital Ballroom Council.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamel Khan, and I am the community coordinator for the Capital Ballroom Council. Dante.
Dante Brown Balenciaga, and I am the other co-chair for the Capital Ballroom Council. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for tuning in tonight. How y'all feeling?
Oh, you know what? I'm feeling cute. I'm very excited about this. So
very excited.
So I'm feeling cute.
Yeah, tonight's a night, we wanted to address something that we've all been talking about in the scene. We talk about it in silo, so we want to bring everybody together from various different spaces to really have a real conversation and see what we can really do about it. And it's, we've lost a number of people in the community over the years, and especially with this year, we've lost a lot of people. So I think it's time for us to do that. And, I'm a firm believer of, we can't say something needs to be done if we're not really ready to do it ourselves. So that's why, thankfully with these two over here, allowed us to really switch gears, because this really wasn't even what we planned to do this month. But we thought it was important to do it. So without further ado,
let's go.
And we're back. Special edition. So we're going to start bringing in our guests, because we have a jam-packed show tonight with a lot of good people. A lot of people want y'all to hear from. So let's go. As I bring you up, just introduce yourself. First up is Lil Tony.
Yeah. Why they put me? No. Hey, what's going on, you guys? Most of you may know me. Some of you may not. It's just been eons for but I'm Little Tony. I'm not affiliated with any house. Well, not yet. But some of you know me from the DC area. So that's pretty much who I am.
Awesome. Welcome. Chino?
Hi, I'm Chino. Been in the scene a long time ago, and now I'm here to share my experience with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Brother Jason Zugarson, you're a mute.
Hi, I'm Jason Zugarson. You guys probably know me as a sex worker and HIV advocate for Undetectable Man, and always loud and about you. I'm also the creator of the initiative Take Down Tina, which spreads awareness of within queer and trans communities of color. So, hello.
Thank you. The lady of the hour, Miss Shalise.
Only female in my crew. Okay. So, my name is Shalise Green Thompson. I use she, her pronouns. I identify as a Black queer femme. I am a woman in recovery, and I work as a substance use counselor in Baltimore, Maryland.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, Mr. Big Greg Balenciaga.
Hello. I'm Big Greg Balenciaga. You can call me BG. I've been in the scene forever as well. I'm from DC.
Hello, frog in your throat?
Oh no, I do not.
What's that doing? All right. Like we said, we invited everyone together to talk. Usually we have a bunch of questions. We just have some very few questions to guide the conversation. And it's really just a time for you guys just to talk. Jamel, Dante, you have anything you want to add before we jump in?
I just was going to say, for everybody watching out there, can you do us a favor and make sure that you share the live right now? We want to make sure we get the people in here so we can make sure that, people are able to interact, and also so that they can get the knowledge and the information. So when y'all see me looking down, it's because it's a computer right here, and I'm actually sharing the live right now. I'm not paying the conversation. I'm trying to share the live to the different ballroom groups and everything else. So if everybody else can help to do that, just out there watching right now, that'd be great too. Shout outs to those that are already in the room watching.
Yes,
Shout
thank
out.
you. So tonight's discussion is going to be around substance use, right? And I, thank you all again for being willing to come on and share your stories. So I want to start off the question at the very beginning. What was the thing or things that contributed to substance use, your substance use? Anybody can
I
go.
Like, oh, anybody can just bop.
yeah.
Anybody can go. Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
Big Reg, since you started it, then you might as well go ahead.
Okay, I was already ready. Excuse me. What was the things that contribute? Ooh, so it was heartbreak. That really contribute, like the contributing factor to me engaging in substances the way I engaged in them for the reasons that I engaged in them.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah.
Understand. Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to go
Okay,
next?
I can go.
okay.
So for me, it was really, as a young boy, I was shy, right? So when I started using, then all my inhibitions kind of went down. So now I feel like Superman, now that I'm on this substance. And it was a little bit of, discovering myself sexually as well too. That kind of helped with all of that and being comfortable with who I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll go
Anybody?
next.
All right.
Anybody?
I'll go next. For myself, I really didn't understand like that. Like I had value and I had purpose, and I really didn't understand myself and like why like I was substance and like now like fast forward, it's just now understanding that drugs is not to avoid a problem or to solve a problem, but it's more of an experience. So it's just being more conscious in how I engage in substance use if I decide to choose substances. So I think then I was just a little like not informed myself, and I hadn't did the work on self to understand why.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me, I felt like it was a variety of reasons. I felt like really keeping it real, like really being 100. Bitch, like coming out like in the Edge era, the Monday Night Madness era. These days, bitch, like the girls were getting full. Bitch, like coming as a young girl, I was like 16 years old when I first started coming to balls. Bitch, like these were the girls who you saw in the bathroom. These were the girls you saw, bitch, in the follies. For the girls who was around in that era, bitch, like this was the shit that you saw. And I feel like a lot of it had to do with trying to escape like reality, like the normal shit that we face like every day in life, like health issues, like living issues, like all of these things that the girls really face. Like me being in the scene this long, I've seen the girls really face homelessness, like girls facing health issues, the girls facing accepting issues. Drugs was kind of like a gateway. I feel like at first it was like a game at first. I felt like I never really knew what we was getting into. Like we saw the girls getting full. We didn't see the consequences of our actions immediately. I felt like we saw everybody else was doing it, so it was like we was doing it. It was at one point where, bitch, you couldn't even sit with certain girls, bitch, if you didn't get full. And I feel like coming out, like without that guidance, like without somebody really looking you in your face, like, come on, like let me show you the right way. Like, it's okay to be one of the sober girls. It's okay to be one of the girls who don't get full. I feel like a lot of who I was surrounded with, like the girls was like, bitch, like this is the thing. And I feel like that was the beginning of why I started to get full. It's like different things. And like it's like different levels to that shit, like getting high. So it's like different drugs that I did for different reasons I was. But to turn on cocaine, I really feel like that was the ballroom drug. I felt like that was the DC drug. That was the drug that the girls did. Whenever I came out. To be honest, I felt like.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, for real.
So, for me, I agree with what everyone said, and I think that as addicts and alcoholics, it's really it's very common that when we face social things that I feel uncomfortable in my own skin, where I am just going out and about, I didn't just want to be me. I didn't feel like just being me and showing up as my authentic self was enough. I had to be drunk or I had to be high. But before I ever picked up a drink or a drug, it was already in my environment. Using was learned behavior for me because I grew up with an addict as a mother. I grew up with a family that at every baby shower, birthday party, funeral, cookout, everybody's drinking, all the cousins getting high. So even though I told myself that that would never be me, I picked up those behaviors from them. So when I started using and when I started drinking, I knew how to move. I knew how to hide bottles. I knew how to sneak home in the middle of the night so nobody knew that I was high. I knew how to do all of those things because I learned from my environment before I ever started using.
So thank you for sharing. One thing, if you're not speaking, is please mute your line because we're getting a little bit of feedback from somebody. Thank you for that. Thank you all of you. Thanks all of you for sharing.
Thank you.
Being transparent. The next question we have is, while you were, struggling with addiction and substance use, what was life like?
At first it was great. If I could drink and get high every day and not had no consequences go around with it, I'd be drunk right now. I would be high right fucking now. But and in the beginning, you don't really think that it's anything wrong with your behavior because usually you're in a peer group where this is what everybody's doing, right? But then you start thinking like, well, why is it when everybody else go to sleep, I'm still keeping the party going, or I can't just go to the party. I gotta go to the after party. I can't just go to the bar. I gotta be there when the lights cut on. All my coworkers, all my friends left. Now I done found new people to leave the bar with and go somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So, and then things start getting out of control, right? When you realize that I'm at work and all I'm thinking about is when am I going to get off? Because I want to get high, I want to get drunk. The bar closed at what time? No, I cannot go out to eat with you, Daddy, because I have to be at the bar before it closes. I knew what time my neighborhood bar opened. I would meet my dealer at 6:00 in the morning, 2:00 in the morning. It did not matter, right? And me as a lesbian, I did not worry about my safety at all. Inviting these strange men to know where my house was, going into other people's houses, late at night, getting high. And I'm not even thinking about the danger that I'm putting myself in. And then that was when I was trying to cut back. But when it really spiraled out of control is when my grandmother was dying. And when I heard that she had a major stroke, the first thing I did was go to the bar, get a bottle. I went to my mother's grave and I sat there and drank and cried and then drank some more and then passed out. And even then, I was really just gearing up for the end. I was really just, that's when things started to really change and got scary, and I'm doing things for money that I wouldn't normally do. I'm becoming a person that I said I would never be because I've seen those behaviors. I've seen them in my mother. Right. So at the end, I was just worn out. I was 29 and I knew I was going to die before I hit 30. I knew it. I could feel it in my fucking body, the way I felt in the morning after throwing up for about 30 minutes, right? Stopped going to work. My life was my bedroom. It was those 4 walls. It was the bar up the street. It was the dealer around the corner. And it was me Netflixing and chilling all by myself, right? And it was sad. And it was lonely. And it was painful. And it didn't stop. I didn't know how to stop myself. I cried out to my mother, to my grandmother, to my aunties, to my ancestors, because I said, like, please, like, have mercy on me. I don't know what to do. And maybe like 3 weeks after that, I actually went into treatment. I wasn't even going. My family, I had fucked up some money, really. And this is the first time I ever shared this publicly. I had fucked up some money, right? Because for some reason they thought that they should put me, the irresponsible alcoholic and drug addict, in front of my grandmother, in charge of my grandmother's finances. So I fucked up some money, and my family was really like, well, you just need to go to work, and you can just pay it back. And I was like, I called my father. I was like, look, I'm ready to go. I'm ready now. Because I realized that my family, they loved me, but they didn't know how to help me. They would have literally let me die because and that's for so many of us. Our families care about us, but they don't know what to do or what to say to really stop us, especially if addiction is in your family. It's just common to them. This is what people do, right? So yeah, that's what it was like for me.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing that and being transparent.
Yes. Anybody else?
Yeah, for me, it was fun at first. Like the shit was fun. It was awesome. It was amazing. But then it started to become not fun. And then when the not fun came, then here comes the depression. I didn't love myself, all of my flaws that make me unique. I thought it was things that people didn't like about me. I started to look at my career. Where am I? Career wise, I should be so much further than where I am. I should have finished school. I should have. And all of those negative things were just magnified. And then I had gotten to a point where actually my first rehab, my family threw me into rehab. I didn't go on my own. I wasn't ready. So what did I do when I got out of rehab? I used some more
Back, right.
until I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then I started on my path.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anybody? Tony?
Yeah.
Tony, you talking?
I felt like during my addiction, I felt like a lot of things was like all over the place. Like I can relate to like first starting to get full and it's like, okay, this is fun. This is all games. Even the amount of drugs I was doing like in the beginning. Like I would come in the club and think that a $25 bag is like getting full. Like that in the beginning, it was like nothing. Like I was still very much in tune with ballroom, still like in tune with walking. And then it got to a point to where it was like, I'm not even here for the ball. Like, I'm not even here for the categories. Like, I'm not even thinking about walking this shit. It's all about the high. And that shit starts to affect your rent. That shit is affecting your priorities, your finances, to the point to where it was like, bitch, if I got to spend $500 tonight, $1,000 tonight, like, I don't care what I got to spend. I'm going to go get the money. I'm going to make it back. And then we start taking risks and we start doing things that we normally wouldn't do for money. So you can see how like it opened the door for like other doors. Like it just the road started getting darker and darker. And it got to the point to where my friends was coming to me like, like Tony, like I remember like Little James. I remember so many people coming to me like Tony, like we see that like you're no longer even having fun doing what what you love to do. Like you love to vogue, you love to perform, you love the performance part of coming to a ball. And now like we can never find you in the category like you done got caught up with the wrong crowds, like you're always full. And I just really saw like a down spiral from there. This went on for like 4 years, like cocaine. Then it was pills. Then it was K. It was like it opened up so many doors. And I'll never forget one night we were in Eden, at Club Eden, and Charles came in the bathroom, and I ran up to her. I was like, bitch, I'm like swinging a bag in my hand, like real late. And she like, bitch, what the fuck is that in that bag? And I didn't even know what the fuck I was sniffing. She's like, bitch, like, what is that in that bag right there? And I lifted up, I'm like, bitch, this is the things. And she was like, no, it's not. But she like snatched the bag out my hand and flushed down the toilet. She's like, bitch, do you even know what that is? Bitch, that's Tina. Bitch, like you here sniffing Tina. And that was like a reality moment for me to like, bitch, like you're so gone in this that you're not even paying attention. You just meeting up with the Get Full girls. You just taking anything from anybody. You just sniffing anything. And that's when I kind of knew that like things was getting out of control. It kind of like, bitch, like she was not using me for that. Like for like a whole week or so, she was like, bitch, I'm not using you, bitch. You had a whole bag of Tina in your hand. Like it really, that was like a realization that made me feel like, Tony, like you need to wake up and you really need to get your shit together. Like during this time, I'm facing eviction. I'm like going from state to state on contours, bitch, like I'm moving here and there, bitch, living in hotels. It was just it was a whole big tea because of how deep I got into it, I would say. It was a lot.
Wow, thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Um,
Anybody
Jason,
else?
Greg?
Jason, Greg, Gino.
Um, I had fun. Um, but on the not to glorify it, but in all honesty, I had mad fun. A lot of it was just to do it just for fun. In the beginning, I guess we all start in the beginning with just for fun. But uh, I think after the second time, and I understood that during the first two times that I didn't feel the harshness of the emotions that I was feeling because of that situation. When I understood what the drug did to me, um, when I got a grasp of that, it was like, okay, I'm putting this aside and I'm about to do this. So the way I am is I learn something. And when I learn it, I have to figure out my shortcuts. I got to know everything about it. And once I learned everything about it, I learned different ways, and I was on a schedule. I knew that I could do it at 6, and then I'm going to work. I got shit to do. I don't have stuff to do. So I was able to cut it real close. And I became, I guess you say, functional. And like Shalise, I'm saying your name correctly, right? Yes, like the young lady said. She excuse me, I'm just kid nervous, don't mind me.
It's okay.
Because this is like the first time I'm like she said, she became functional. She didn't say those words, but it became functional, and she was able to know how to go in the house, how to be around people. She knew her ins and outs, and that's where I was. I could sit next to so many people and be high as Cooley Brown, just being my normal self because I guess not I guess, but because of the personality that I have, I could just be my normal self. And they were just, Greg, you high as hell, but everything I would just be smoking weed. Hell no, I'm over here fucked up. Like seriously. But then I started um, to to revert and to stay away because I didn't want to have to. I wanted to do other things and not just be so solely based in doing it in this environment. Not unfortunately, excuse me, but little Tony, like I've never been in like a regular club or at a ball or anything and been high. When I came out, fortunately for me, I had guidance to say, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And like I said, the type of person I am, I'm gonna stick to it. So I didn't indulge too much into other things. And I was able to not go through those kind of hardships, but the hardships I went through more so internally. And I think that's worse than anything externally because I'm with myself 24/7. It was good in the beginning. I learned how to mask and deal. So that was both good and bad. But when the high is gone, a lot of it comes right back and it's hitting you. So at times it was worth it sometimes. Let's just say that. And
Understand. Thank you.
Definitely well said. Thank you for that. Last but not least.
In my journey, I used to like subscribe to like saying like I had addiction, but then I feel as though like when I like use that language, one when we speak about like, addiction and the regards of like drug use, it sounds like negative connotation. So then it also gave room for me to like relapse because I was like, well, I'm an addict, so this is the process journey. Whereas it's when I switched the narrative of like just being honest with myself and say I'm a drug user, it actually gives me an opportunity for to be like, hey, am I going to engage in drug use or am I going to do something else? And typically, I am responsible for self. And I'm also the person who also shows up at the event with, the thermometer, the O2, I can't think of it right now, and the blood pressure monitor and everything like that. And I'm typically the person who is like caring for the person who's probably had one too many. So for me and my journey, it hasn't been anything that's really been super negative in the sense of like, loss of job, loss of friends, loss of income. I would say, like, to be quite honest, like my connects were like I've burnt bridges with connects because I'm just a person who's like super like, hey, this is what you have to do. This is what we're going to do because, I'm just not about like all of the riffraff. And so, moving forward in this light and in this journey, I feel as though a lot of people don't like include harm reduction like I did. And so maybe that was my saving grace to be able to be like, hey, I'm going to do this. Or if I'm at an event, I'm going to just like, drink water. I'm going to eat, I'm going to say no on that next hit and be like, I'm good and be comfortable with saying no and not feel peer pressure. I'm going to have a moment to just sit out and just do all of the things that I want to do for self. Because like, this is like my whole like being and I have to care for it. So for myself, I mean, it really hasn't really caused anything negative as far as like mental health, anything like that. Like I feel as though, for the most part, it has evolved into and not to glorify like, everybody's journey, but like for myself, it's just giving me opportunity to like kind of give myself a pause and really think about what I want to do in my life and my choices.
Okay, definitely. Thank you for that. I know this is definitely not an easy thing, especially for people that are first timers talking about stuff like this. But I promise you, this is going to reach somebody.
So many people. Yeah.
And it's definitely going
My
to
phone had cut off.
help them understand a lot of different things because, and this is just me inserting, but even though you may not know who they are, but because Kenya hates when I does this, but even though you may not know who they are, and we may not know who they are, however, they are, just listening to stories of people that they may sit next to and they never know anything makes a huge, huge effect. You know what I mean? It makes them think. And if we can start the seed, then we can water it and then it will then grow from there and we can nurture it once we, get our hands onto it. So again, I'm gonna thank you all, show, because that's just the person that I am.
I think Shalique might want to had something she wanted to add.
Okay, yeah.
So I just wanted to quickly affirm Jason for bringing harm reduction into the conversation. Yep. Now, in my personal life, as a person in recovery, I live a totally abstinent lifestyle. But as a counselor, I think that harm reduction is definitely an important framework to bring into any conversation about substance use. Why? Because some people, maybe it's one particular drug that I feel like is more detrimental to my well-being and to my livelihood than another. So I may want to stop using heroin or Percocets, but I fully intend to keep smoking weed. Or maybe I may want to stop using Tina, but I do not have a problem with alcohol use, right? And we have to accept people for where they are because it's not, his journey is not my journey. And my journey is not his. As long as we get to the same place of having a health-filled life, that is the goal, right? So, because sometimes when in this community, in the sober community or sober curious community, because some people may not be ready to be sober, but I'm curious and I'm preparing myself to minimize my use or to stop using, right? I think that it's a lot of judgment from within the community because especially people shy away from 12-step fellowships because of the strict abstinence requirements, right? But there are so many other ways to find community. You can go to Smart Recovery for women in recovery. There are support groups just for women in recovery. You can go to just strictly therapy or everything. It's no one way to do this. It's no one way to save your life. Okay, anything is open to be on the table as long as we reduce the harm that is being done to you. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well spoken.
Yes.
Can
We have a question from the audience.
Yeah.
You want to
And I
take
think
it?
it's leading from the harm reduction piece that you guys talking about. And it says, Brianna, thank you for this. How do you cope with your triggers that make you want to use? How do you cope with your triggers that make you want to use? You're around your girlfriends, you're at the feng shui, you're whatever you're doing, and your girlfriends don't want to do the things. They want to carry on and they want to get into it and they want to know what it's doing. So how do you cope with that?
I can jump
I
in.
want to start with
Yeah,
Chino.
please go ahead. Let Chino go ahead.
With me, I've had a lot of therapy. So there are a lot of tools in my toolbox, right? So one, I have to figure out, well, what's the root of the craving, right? What made me have the craving? And then I process the craving. I have to sit in the craving and honor the feeling, know that it is a craving and that the feeling will pass. And once I do that, then I do something what we call play the tape forward, right? So if I do use, this is what's going to happen, right? Because time has already showed me that when I use, this happens. It's insanity, right? So it's just one of those things where just sitting through, working through it, call somebody. If there's somebody out there, if you have a sponsor, if you have a friend, talk through your craving, because when you talk about your craving, it then becomes powerless. You're taking power from the craving. And that's how kind of I get through my cravings.
Okay. Anybody want to jump in?
I think that in the beginning, because alcohol is everywhere, right? It's a liquor store on damn near every corner. They selling it in gas stations and Walmart, right? So, I think that in the beginning, what I did is I did go to meetings, right? And I had family members who are in recovery, and those are the people that I started to gravitate to. You use the scenario that your friends want to get full, your friends want to go out, and they want you to come too. Well, first I had to ask, is this my friend? Have I disclosed to this person that I am in recovery and I am sober at this moment? And why would this person approach me and offer me drugs or alcohol? So now we have to I have to set boundaries, and that's something that I did straight out the gate. I set very firm boundaries and I was very open about the fact that I was going for treatment to make people aware. Like, I need you to hold me accountable, right? Because it's going to be times when it's going to be hard for me to hold myself accountable. Even now, almost 5 years into my journey, I still have cravings. I still get triggered, but I've learned to arrest the addiction. I've put that bitch in handcuffs and I sit her in the corner and I say, no, we're not doing it. Okay, we have come too far. And the thought may cross your mind, but as you progress in your journey, you realize that, it's just a thought, and my thoughts don't control my actions, right? I can have the thought and I can move past that thought. And also, what I would encourage people to do is get moving. If you like to go to the gym and you're going to use that as your coping mechanism for triggers, then you need to have your gym bag packed at the door, so when the craving hits, okay, I'm in the car, I'm going, and by the time you get there, you're not even thinking about it because the average craving only lasts 20 minutes. When people say I got cravings all day, it's because I'm just sitting in it. I'm just sitting around the house and all I'm thinking about is using. No, get out. It's nice as shit outside. Go to the harbor, go to the mall, go cruise, go do something. But we're not just going to sit around and think about getting high. right? And definitely, I see what y'all may say. Yeah, setting boundaries is important because you got to let people know where you stand. And the people that's going to test you the most are your friends and your family. Your friends and your family, they're gonna be the ones that test you. You know, they're gonna be the ones that offering you a glass of wine, and you have to reassert your boundaries over and over. It's not about just making a decision, but I recommit to the decision that I made to change my life every day.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I
Thank
feel
you,
like
thank you, thank you.
um,
Anybody else want to
just
jump on that question?
I think Jason was
yeah.
talking.
Go ahead, Jason.
So like for me, like with like triggers, like I mean, like I'm gonna be quite honest, they're like non-existent, and it's because it's like I feel as though like we go through life and just like like oh my god, life is this, life is that, blah blah blah, la la la, and not accept like where we are in the moment, like if I'm in like for instance, if I'm back home at my mom, like I'm going to be pissed off that I'm back home at my mom's house, but there's nothing that I can do to change that circumstance right now. So I have to sit here and be comfortable with being here and understanding that this is not forever. I feel as though as we get like, fixated on like, oh my God, I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. Or we get fixated on like the future, which drives us more insane because we're trying to now like prove a point that is just non-existent or not needed at all. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm comfortable with being here because I feel as though when in an environment, especially like people who do survival sex work, like a lot of times like we get uncomfortable, I don't want to go see this person, I don't want to do this, but understanding that this is my profession, so I have to go do this for right now because I have to survive, and it's removing the negative thoughts and really trying to make a positive. It's like, okay, yes, I have to do this thing, but guess what? At the end, I'm going to make my money. That's going to better help me succeed in my life and do what I need to do to grow as a person. A lot of personal development has to be done within yourself to really understand yourself, to acknowledge what is going on in the moment. So you're not always having this out of body experience, like you are like, okay, yeah, I feel depressed, acknowledging I feel depressed and, what am I depressed about? If I need to talk to someone who's going to provide, some type of healing and not trauma, then that's a thing. But if I can there and do it myself, that's perfectly fine as well. But being able to move forward and also change the behavior and engage in things, but sitting and just being like, hey, I'm bored, I'm gonna get hot, doesn't do it. Like you gotta really be proactive in your lifestyle.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. For me, I feel like it was a lot of prayer. I feel like you have to really be real with yourself. You got to have those keep it real moments with yourself. Like, do I really want to be free from this? Like, am I even really taking this serious? Like, how serious I'm about really getting free from this? Because the temptation will always be there. Like, you're going to the ball. You know that the girl is there. Like, you know that you're not strong enough to fight it. Like, if you got to be the girl to keep your person in the car, like you got to be the girl to have. You need a support system. You need people who have the same mindset that's with you, that's going to support you in your journey of where you're going. And I feel like a lot of times, we've been with the girls. It's hard to detach from the girls because we're like, these are my friends, and I've been out with them this long. We scared of how the people gonna feel, and it has absolutely nothing to do with how you move forward with taking control over your life. And it's like the girls have to understand that, okay, this is your decision. I'm not going to force this on you. I've had so many friends like in the last 10 years, like multiple gay mothers, gay sisters, bitches have died, overdosed, all kind of shit. So when shit hit home, I felt like that was one of the things that like helped me to really resist my triggers. Like I'm like, I was just sitting with this bitch last week and like she's dead. Like she was in perfect good health. Just that one bag, like that one bad batch. And it's like you gotta have a support system. If you don't got a support system, and if you know that you weak, like you gotta practice like refraining and abstaining from even coming out for a while. Bitch, for me, it was 5 years. That's how long it took for me to really get Tony together. I'm talking about like all the way, like health wise, living wise, bitch, to actually really get a real job, to actually get stable. It took that long for me to withdraw from the girls to really get myself together. So you got to know, like, if I'm not strong enough right here, I don't have no support system. Like, everybody I go to the ball with tonight is going to pass me a bag. Like, just a function I'm just not going to be able to go to. That's if you're serious about really getting yourself together. You got to choose, like, which one is more important. Like, am I more concerned with going out and having a good time and fulfilling what my little thing want to do, or like, do I really want to get myself together? I feel like it take a lot of self-control, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel.
Okay, thank you for that. BG, you got something to add?
Keeping busy for me. It's always trying to stay busy. Trying to plan things with friends and family. Um, getting to see my house. Like, I was really going through it not too long ago, and they don't even know how they helped me out. It was just, I'm coming to the meeting. All right, I went to the meeting, and just the camaraderie, just that art of love that you have to be there to understand it. Just that it's rejuvenating, it's refreshing, and that has taken me further than the high would have, than it has ever done. And even with me saying that, there's still that weakness, there's still that craving. I believe someone just said, like, you're always going to have that craving. It's what you do to I don't know if saying mask it or to make it subside. Which one is better, or to be understood better? Whatever you have to do that, or whatever I was doing to do that. It's what I do. Stay busy. I've learned to paint. I like decorating and stuff. So being artsy, I've gotten back into doing a whole lot of artsy stuff. I cook. Oh, also eating. I've gained, like, y'all see me keep blowing up and blowing up and blowing up. The struggle is real. I'm out here. I gotta eat turkey because I got a craving. So if any of y'all got some cravings, come over out. Y'all, look, we can eat.
We love to eat.
Thank you. We have a question, but you do want to take the question in the comment section, Dante? Do you want to take one of the pre-written questions? Which one do you want?
Either one. Did any of you all seek help through a substance abuse program? If so, how was your experience? And this is from Charmaine Garcon. Shout out to you, Charmaine.
Charmaine, sissy.
Man.
I can go. Oh,
Yeah,
go
for it.
So for me, I've been in 3 rehabs, right? So I told you guys the first rehab, it was like I was on vacation. They had a pool. We went equine therapy. It was set up like college. It was fun. So I felt like I was in Hollywood somewhere. I was living a life. I was a celebrity. And then I got back and I used again. So then I found the IOP. And I'm like, okay, this is different. IOP is intensive outpatient service. So I kind of figured out that IOP, I need to learn how to live with life on life terms, because when you're in rehab, you're in a bubble, right? So nothing kind of really affects you when you're in that bubble. So in IOP, I kind of learned how to deal with life as things happen, losing jobs, things happening with partners, all those kind of things. Still didn't click, right? Boom, went back out. So then I said, all right, shit, I need a reset because I got to take myself out of this situation. So I put myself back into rehab. The last time it stuck because I was the one to do it. I was the one to say, I gotta, I can't live life like this anymore. I have to make a change. And the change, like y'all said, the change starts with me. So that's what I did. So now that I've been out of rehab for the second time, I went back to do my IOP. And now I'm still in there. I'm going to be in therapy for the next maybe year and a half. And I love it. I love everything about therapy. I can get my feelings out. I can get my emotions out. Nobody is judging me. Nobody is looking at what I got, what I'm wearing, or how do I look, or how do I sound. It's just an honest conversation with a group of guys. And I look forward to this meeting every week because I know that when I get off of that Zoom, right? Even if I don't feel like going, I'm going to get something. I'm going to hear something, or somebody's going to touch me, or I'm going to touch somebody with the things that I said enough that it was worth it for me to do it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I went to treatment. I went to detox. I went to treatment. I came home and I jumped right into 12 step, and that's what's been working for me, right? But something I want to touch on is because of the community that is watching this, right? Treatment is a great option, but it's not an option that everyone has readily
Yes.
available,
Yes.
especially quality treatment program, especially for Black trans women, right? And it's important that we say that and we call that out because
Yes.
as a substance use counselor, when girls come through the door, it's very few programs that are going to take a trans woman at all, right? Because the idea of where to place her is going to come into question, right? Because 9 times out of 10, they will hesitate to place her into a women's house, right? Some programs have LGBTQ houses, right? Where you have everybody under the umbrella in there. But there's very few programs that have spaces that are for trans women. There are very few spaces that understand the needs of the LGBTQ community, especially the Black LGBTQ community. Black transgender loving men and Black trans women have a hard way to go in the treatment environment because you have counselors who may not be competent to treat them. You have the population who may be hostile towards them, and then you may not have accommodations for them, right? So that's definitely a vacuum right there that it needs to be addressed, right? Because when you come into treatment, it's about me talking about me, right? But a Black gay man may hesitate to talk about his experience in a men's rap, right? Or a trans woman, she may have a harder way to go connecting with the other women, right? Because the cisgender women may be hostile towards her, right? I've seen it happen so many times. So, and how the program addresses that. How the program addresses that, if they're going to brush it under the table, or if they even understand the needs of the Black LGBTQ community. As Jason said, a lot of people are doing survival sex work, and that impacts, the way that we navigate through life. You have people who may be dealing with various health issues, and that impacts their self-perception. And not only that, but if they need that warm blanket, if they feel like they need the addiction in order to deal with life. So we have to consider those things when we're talking about organizations that are able to treat our community.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Dante, you want to ask a follow-up?
Anybody else want to comment on that first?
Yeah, I'll go.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've done like a voluntary day, which was like, it was a great time to really like reset life. And then I did another one at a crisis house, which was like a reality for me, because then it was like, like, I don't know, people like they call you like first class, and so you're like, oh, I get it, I'm different, great, but like, yeah, like it was. I feel like my experience is that most of the time the counselors or like the therapists are like always just trying to like rush me out, which I'm okay with, but like it's just like like they understand that like, hey, you get this and like move on. And I feel like that's not the story or narrative for everyone, because like when people like go into these facilities, like once they lock those doors, like you're stuck, and so it's just we have to acknowledge that, like, especially like places in the South, like they don't really have treatment centers, like, or rehabs as much as just sending people to like, a hospital or going to an ER and staying on, a psych ward type of thing or a behavioral health unit, which is not like really like great for people. Like you really need to be somewhere where you're actually able to get, the treatment that you need, and really understand like what is the next step moving forward. Because my experience is working as a recovery coach, like I feel as though like they don't provide those next steps. And so what happens is that, well, we're done with you. We put you out there in the world, and then you don't have anything, So it's really like that, like just don't go to the hospital. Like really seek a treatment center or a rehab. Really look at the opportunity first before you do it. And I know a lot of times we're probably like at our wits end, but really just try to be mindful of that, because I feel as though a lot of times when we go to the hospital, like those doors locked, like it's unfortunate, especially for people of color. So promote treatment centers, please, and we need to invest in LGBTQ treatment centers here in the South for sure, because the hospital is not a great place for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Definitely. Kenya?
Okay. I want to say thank you to each of you for sharing your story. And I think I said this in an email with y'all earlier. Like, I know we're not going to be able to solve the problem in this hour or even in this 2 hours, but just leave. And sometimes I think looking down, I'm reading the comments, like y'all comments are actually impacting people's lives right now, like in real time. People are thanking you all, and I'm seeing people like having aha moments and asking questions. So I want to thank you all. Thank you all again. If you guys want to hang on and watch online, you guys can. I'm getting the notice that the second set of panelists are trying to come on. So again, thank you all. Thank you for your time. It's so good to see all of you. I feel like I haven't seen y'all in so long. I can't wait for COVID to be gone so I can see everybody and we can kiki and have some good times.
And this will be the last one as well. So we'll definitely see everyone's face on here. And again, we really appreciate everyone being super, super, super transparent from the top to the bottom. Like we really, really, really appreciate you guys so much. You have no understanding. So definitely we want you guys to stay on and watch if possible. And see, what else we have in store for tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Love you guys.
Right.
Love you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Love, hearts, everything, all the things.
All our viewers, don't go
anywhere.
We're gonna play a quick video, and then we're gonna bring up our second panel. So just stay with us if you're currently viewing.
Yes, we're gonna take a quick.
I don't think people heard you.
Oh, I said. The people didn't hear me, or you didn't hear me. I said for all our viewers currently watching, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We're playing a quick video while we reset for our second half of the panel, and then we'll be right back to continue this conversation. And we're going to begin to talk about solutions. So don't go nowhere.
Yes. And we're going to bring ballroom leadership on as well with some subject matter experts. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll talk about it in the second half as well. Thank you all. As soon as the video starts.
Methamphetamine. This is what I do to motivate myself a little bit.
A drug that was also known for a while as redneck cocaine.
It's a little like,
It's believed to be only used by hicks in rural areas. They use it, but so do gay men in urban centers.
A lot of people use it for sex.
As a way of sort of enhancing their lives, enhancing their partying.
But no, I do it and I channel my inner passions. So here we go. Let's turn up.
Over 11 million Americans have tried meth at least once.
You ready, Rose? My name is Courtney.
The same data says 440,000 were last month users, but this is all data from 2012.
I'm 29.
Its use is likely still on the rise, according to DEA meth seizure data.
I am a functioning drug addict. Here we go.
Crystal meth is extremely addictive. and Courtney has been addicted for 5 years.
Would you like to get the booty bump on camera too?
Use among gay men happens at a higher rate than other users.
It's very difficult to try to really get our hands on what proportion of gay men are actually using meth. But I think it's safe to say, based on a cross-section of the studies that have been published, gay men are overrepresented in the population of methamphetamine users. That's called a health disparity in public health research.
With this drug, what it's known for is bringing out the uninhibitedness of your inner sex beast, I guess you could say.
And it's not exactly a secret in the gay community. There's actually a term for it, party and play, or P&P.
To describe the association between engaging in sex and using drugs.
9 times out of 10 is meth when you're partying, you know.
The reason that meth use allows individuals to stay up for 2 days or 3 days and have marathon sex is because it's speed.
Meth use has been viewed as a causing factor of HIV. But Dr. Halkitis' research and Courtney's experience suggest something more complicated is happening.
I felt I've been gay since I was 2 or 3. I would dress up in my grandmother's high heels and put on my grandmother's dresses.
Growing up, Courtney was rejected by his father and turned to sex chat lines in search of a male mentor.
I've been having sex since I was 12 with grown men.
He said he had slept with over 50 people, half adult men, by the age of 14.
That's abuse. You know, that's sexual abuse.
By 21 years old, Courtney found out he was HIV positive, and 3 years later, he tried meth for the first time.
I was 24 years old in Atlanta, Georgia. I had broken up with my ex. I found out I was HIV positive. It's like nothing mattered to me, you know. I wanted to get away. I wanted to take my mind off of me being positive. It took the hurt away, in the most part.
In a 2014 study, Dr. Halkitis found that 65% of HIV-positive men started using meth a few years after contracting the disease.
There's a theory, multiple minority stress theory, that argues the higher the number of memberships in minority groups that you have, the more likely you are to have health consequences, because you are living in a society that discriminates against you or stigmatizes you because of your race, because of your sexual orientation, because of your HIV status, and because of your economic means. And taken together, those 4 factors create a reality for someone that is not a particularly nice reality. And so methamphetamine provides a very quick and easy escape from day-to-day living.
After 5 years, Courtney is finally telling family members about his addiction and trying to stop.
It just took for him to really come out to let us know. So basically now my thing is, like I said, do more things on helping him quit.
But of course, quitting and staying clean is a struggle. The typical treatment for meth addiction is behavioral therapy, basically Alcoholics Anonymous for meth. And at the park with his cousin, Courtney bumped into a former heroin addict who had similar advice.
September 4th, 7 years.
Congratulations.
How about you?
I'm currently using.
Oh yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
off and on, but
Yeah.
it's a everyday. It's a process, and
Yeah, man. I mean, that's why meetings and shit, or even just talking to people who have a similar problem is it, because it's an isolatory disease. Being clean this long, I can tell you, it's the greatest, it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Sobriety is something that you gotta want to do. You gotta want to be sober. You gotta want to take those steps to move forward and have a functioning life. Drugs, you know, they ruin people. They ruin lives. I
Do you want to get sober?
Of course, I will get sober. Not wanting to, I will. Again,
Welcome back. Panelist, Jamila's not here, so I'll take him off the screen. Oh, there you go. You're back. Okay, good. That's all. I didn't want to put you out here, bro.
I'm always trying.
No. You know, some of you have seen this video. What are your thoughts about this video?
I've actually seen it.
The video.
I've seen it before. It's impactful. Like every time, just watching it. Impactful. Like watching the road to recovery and just to the transparency, and then also just understanding. I think a big part, and I'm glad they touched on it, is understanding health disparities within our communities and how that's essentially why it impacts us so much more than other communities.
Yeah, agreed. It's one of my videos when I do my presentations on substance use. I do a lot of presentations primarily around meth and opioids, and it's definitely a video that hits it home. You know what I mean? It really makes people realize it. So it's time for our second half of the panel. Thank you all for hanging around. Thank y'all for watching.
Thank you.
Do us a favor, share this live again. Share this live. Go ahead and share this live to your Facebook groups that you're in. All of them. Don't try to just put it in just the ballroom ones. Put it in all of them. Share it to a few people's walls. Tag some people. This is information that anybody can use because anybody can be dealing with substance use or abuse, recovery, or any of that. So it has no fate.
And if you know someone that you think should see this video, it's on YouTube. Just go to Capital Ballroom Council. It's being streamed there live, and it will live there. So if you don't have access, because some people don't have access to Facebook, we put it up there. We want to make sure everyone gets to see this. All right. Next half of the panel with ballroom leadership and subject matter experts. Summons 1 and 2. All right. So without further ado, let's bring them up. First up, Mr. Lanvin. So what I want you to just introduce yourself, say who you are to the people so they know who you are. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Zoom 101, my bad. You are professional ballroom or both?
Both.
I am Donald G. Murray, LSW, LCDC3, MPA, and I'm also the icon overall Godfather Ron exclusive La Band.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us. You're one of the people I wanted to, that I said, one and the same, part of the community leadership, and you're in the field. So thank you for joining us.
I'm excited.
No, thank you. Next up is another Lanvin. Tim, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry. Y'all caught me so hard. So I'm Tim Tobias. I'm a social worker, and I'm also one of the founders of Ballroom We Care. Ballroom We Care focuses on addressing crystal meth use and ballroom, and also mental health related issues. In the ballroom community, I'm Tim Lavin, been in ballroom for a number of years, and I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome, thank you. Love your book in the background too.
Glad to be here.
I got both of those books in your background. They sit right on my stuff too. Yeah, both of those.
The Lavins are smart.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have
Greg.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I'm Icon Charles West. That's it.
Icons. I didn't realize this is a panel full of icons. What's going on? All right. Next up is founder Icon.
I was looking away.
This is not an icon.
I was typing. That's what I was watching while I was typing. I was not prepared.
Introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Icon Shannon, founder and current father of the House of Garcon, and profession. What I do for a profession?
Sure, why not?
I'm a network engineer for DC government.
Thank you for joining us. We have yet another icon. Icon.
I know.
What is icon?
What's up, everybody?
Hi,
Hey, good.
Go ahead.
How do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm the icon overall mother, Jason Prodigy. I also am Jason Bowman, celebrity makeup artist, actor, advocate, and board of directors for Philadelphia Black Gay Pride.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, when we were putting together the panel, I didn't realize it was all icons. I didn't realize that.
We just said we know they're gonna do it.
Yeah, we wanted leadership. We wanted ballroom leadership. So
Yes.
it's actually
And we
great
got
that
it.
all the icons. Yes, we got
And
it.
we got it.
Next up, Harold was prepared. Harold was ready. He was posing. Oh, you're muted, Harold. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm totally.
I got some water.
Hello, everyone.
I got some water.
Mute, Charles.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Harold.
All right, I'm Icon, founding father. Was Harold was live here in the D.C. area. I work, with local. Okay.
So it's very choppy.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually it is.
Okay, so I am. Hold on, let me change it. All right, I'm Harold Balenciaga. I'm founding father, overall father of the House of Balenciaga, a ballroom icon. I'm here in the DMV area, but I'm known nationwide, worldwide, and I love our community. So I enjoy working with people. So part of the reason I'm here today.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Now, another one. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch you mid-drink. My bad. My bad. I'm sorry, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Are you muted, Dave?
You're muted.
Wait, well, I'm the only legend up here. What's going on?
You matter.
Everybody better have some.
Legends matters too.
Hi, I'm Deja West. I'm the East Coast mother of the House of West, the captivating House of West. Sorry. And I'm a medical case manager outside of Ballroom and a benefits coordinator. And I'm basically mother to everybody, I guess.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have someone that is an ally. Some of you may know, some of you may not know her, but I want to bring up Billy Tyler. Wait a minute, it's not letting me add Billy on. I'm gonna have to do something. All right, there we go, Billy.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. I feel honored. And I'm known in the community for the most part as Deja's mom. And my day job is a RN in DC and Maryland. My focus practice has always been in HIV and substance use disorder. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone, Charmaine, Billy DC, the icon is what I'm seeing popping up. Awesome. Thank you. So I don't know if you guys saw the first half.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about that? What was your thoughts? Talk to me. Anybody can go. Talk about that first half of the panel.
I saw it. It was authentic. I thought it was very authentic. It was like everybody was really open. No one held back. No one felt judged, and that was a big part. Not feeling judged and feeling stable in a safe space. That was most important.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Y'all want to chime in? Y'all want to jump into the questions? Go. All right. Go ahead.
I'd like to add something that one of the things they mentioned, I've seen that before, but they mentioned for the most part some of the older methods of recovery. They don't mention harm reduction at all. And many people, even in our field, don't even know that in 2016, SAMHSA changed the gold standard, and the NAAA is not gold standard anymore. It's medical assisted therapy or treatment. And we still have our governments put money into some of their religious-based AA programs, and also into the 28-day treatment programs, even though SAMHSA says they're not, they're no longer the gold standard, that they don't work. They've had the proof for 20 years, but they finally admitted it. And the reason that the government uses the AA and NA programs so widely is because it doesn't cost them anything. It's free. Medical assisted therapy costs a lot of money. And they're getting on board in DC. We've got some programs now, but they're not advertised. And a lot of the all of the older messages are still out there for treatments that we know are not evidence-based or science-based.
Okay. Thank you for that, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
We can't hear you. No.
I muted my damn self. All right. So the first question I have for you all.
Before you go, if y'all aren't speaking, just mute yourselves because it's a little bit of feedback coming from somewhere. All right, that's on.
Awesome. All right. I was making sure I'm plugging up my mic just in case it was my mic. So the question I have for you all is, how do you address substance use in your house and social circles? And anybody can go.
I'll go. Well, with the House of Balenciaga, can y'all hear me first and foremost?
Yeah,
so with the House of Balenciaga, we use Facebook as our central medium of communication. So from time to time, I will go through and address things that I or other leaders or other people in the house have noticed that have become, I don't want to say problematic, but have started delving beyond the norm. One of the things I think as a leader, you ideally, in a perfect world, you want to, nobody's doing this, no. The reality is we're dealing with adults that are in multiple social settings. So substance use is something that, whether it's alcohol, marijuana, or any other substances is probably a reality that you're going to have to understand that people that you associate with use. So my conversation always stems around just trying to make sure people are mindful of their intake, kind of sharing safe tips. You hear of something that's going on, like a particular trend that's happening, whether there's like a bad batch of a particular substance on the market, you kind of share that information. I feel it's important to make it so that people can feel that they can come to you and communicate with you and other leaders in regard to where they are.
I can speak.
Well, my thing is,
for us. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, well, I have this thing where I may want to know, where'd you get it? What are you doing to stay safe? Because my thing is this: so I don't like getting high with or around people that are younger than me. But when I see something, I'm like, well, where'd you get that from? Or I have questions like, okay, how long you been getting high? Go sit in the corner. Maybe we should drink some water. And I've been told I'm grown, but I seriously believe in, like, sometimes I feel like your body knows when you should take a break from things. And sometimes when younger people just starting to get high, they don't know the signs. So I'm not advocating or glamorizing anything. I'm just trying to save their life. So it's like, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. But I do know the thing where it's like people have the thing where they are grown and you can't stop them. But I try to give safety tips. Drink some water. Maybe take some Gatorade. Go outside, walk around in circles. Do something. Just like to just take care of yourself.
I think for us in Lavin, it's kind of a slippery slope for me being a clinician, social worker, and also part of the house. Is like Harold said, I try to create a safe space and not judge anybody. And the one thing that I definitely practice is I'm a believer of harm reduction. I'm a believer in that bag you did shouldn't be your last bag. So I'm a believer in when I go to the balls, I have fentanyl testing kits in my bag. I have Narcan kits in the bag. I'm okay with showing you how it is. I'm okay with slipping in your hand if I know you're dipping off to the bathroom and you act like nobody can see you. I'm okay with, you know how your grandmother used to pass you a 20? I'll hit you with one of the Narcan testing kits. I think that everyone is grown, everyone has their choices. And the other piece about it is that I don't think anybody wants to be ridiculed or preached at. And so I think that when you get to a certain point when the members, I call them kids. The kids in the house definitely have a certain respect for certain leaders in the house and elders in the house, just like they would have respect for their leaders and elders of their biological family. So there's certain things they're going to be uncomfortable to come to you about. Creating that space or even addressing them, I think that sometimes you also have to be able to have them mad at you for asking the right question. Sometimes we want to be their friends sometimes, but you don't know if that question you're asking them is going to be the question that saves their lives. Or they may be pissing you for a few minutes of time, but having that dialogue about what that use looks like. I've never done the drugs myself. I've been a counselor for almost 20 years. However, I'm still amazed today when I hear about the stuff that some of the kids that are my personal gay children, the house children, when they were doing it, I didn't recognize the signs because the only time I was interacting with them was involved with. And I realized that I had a certain type of lens on that I had to take off so that I can understand what they were going through and meet them where they're at and help them get those needs met.
Me in the House of Prodigy, I've tried and did everything that Harold, Charles, and Ron has said. And I take it a step further. I actually go to the dealers because, in the community, we know who the dealers are. And, I had a child, have someone in my house that, is battling drug addiction. And I went to the dealer and was just like, hey, don't give them nothing else. Like, you already know what's going on. You know what you're dealing with. You see them deteriorate and you see where they're going to prevent that stop. And they stopped. Then it became a situation where they were getting their girlfriend or they sister, they auntie to go get it for them. So though it just diverted them shortly, at least I kind of like took the initiative to go to the dealer and was just like, hey, like, look. And for me, it was very hard because, everybody in Ballroom knows Lavish Prodigy passed away from a drug overdose. And Lavish was only 19 years old. And, trying to, do the harm reduction, trying to navigate through everything, it was still rough because I still felt like he slipped through my hands. And, I look at all of us on this panel right now, I see how Charles has managed to navigate and do things his way to, like talk about it. So it becomes like a regular conversation. Like, even me at one time, I used to be judgy before I started actually using and indulging in party drugs, going to Exit, going to Twilo, going to Nations, being young. But for me, it was a wake-up call when I started to watch myself look crazy when I was balls. So I will always reference those kind of conversations to my house kids and be like, it was a clip. I'm not going to say the clip, but it's a clip from like 2004. I had walked face and I was on like 4 E-pills and I looked crazy. So I always showed them that video and was like, do you see how crazy I look? I thought I was eating it, but I wasn't eating it. Like in my head, I thought I was eating it, but in reality, I was looking crazy. So to prevent y'all from looking like this is what y'all think y'all eating it, but y'all really not. And I always come from a place of honesty with all of my members, whether they're quote unquote our kids or my brothers and sisters. Like, I kind of have that open dialogue with them. So usually if I pick up the phone, I'm like, you getting high? What's going on? They'll be like, and they'll just talk about it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Anybody else want to chime in?
For me, it's a bit different because I do speak about it often, and because I speak about it often, everybody will hide from me. Nobody won't let me know nothing. They'll see me coming to the bathroom. They'll search away because they know I'm sorry. I'm gonna read. I'm I'm gonna read. Some of the kids need to be read because that's the only way they'll pay any attention or you'll get a reaction out of them. Sometimes that little pat on the hand, like baby, what are you doing? Where did you get that from? You shouldn't be doing that. You give them all of that, and then you come back to the next function, and mama's still in the bathroom sniffing the box of soap. So it's like
Thank you.
it's 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 different for me.
Shannon?
Yeah, I'm at kind of at the other end of the spectrum. I never used drugs. I was a drinker. When I was young, I used to drink a lot, so bad where it would change my behavior, make me a little more violent, and I kind of stopped that. So I don't drink as much. But my stance on drug it kind of affects me from my childhood. Both my parents were heroin addicts, and from 9, I had to take care of my parents and my brothers and sisters in and out of foster care. So I missed my childhood because of drugs, and that kind of shaped my whole attitude on drugs. I call it, the kids kind of laugh because they call me the wet blanket. And if I come into a room and everybody's using drugs, everybody sits up straight and hides and everything like that. And I know who's doing it. I know what's going on. I'm not gonna lie. I like the respect because they know how my stance is on it. I tell them, treat me the same way as if your mother, your grandmother came into the room. So if they're doing drugs, you wouldn't do it. Don't do it in front of me. I don't allow it in my house. Usually by the time it gets to me, where the kids in the house have gotten, it becomes a problem. It's way out of hand, like Hollis. And like Jason had a story. Hollis was my story, where it was someone who was on meth and everyone who was in the house around me. I tried everything to get him to get off it, try to go to rehab, not enable him because, I know he was doing things, but unfortunately he OD'd, homeless. And I've never been, everything has affected that because I felt like I was hopeless and I was helpless, that I saw this person in my space going down in front of me. I watched him, his descent, and it was just so real, and there was nothing I can do. As a parent, he was a parent. I took away the position from him. We stopped having meetings there. We tried to do everything to kind of get him to go to rehab, but stop enabling him to do the drugs and making it easy for him. But it didn't work. So my stance is kind of, I know what you do. I'm here for your help, but as everyone said, they're adults. But respect my space. Don't do it in my space right here, because it's just not something I want in my space.
Thank you for that. That actually leads into the next question. Dante, you want a question?
Well, really quick, if I could.
Yeah. Yes, please.
I think that when I look at this panel of individuals, I look at individuals in their respective organizations throughout the community hold in high regard. I think that, one of the things that we all have to keep in mind is that none of us want to see people doing things that we don't approve of, that we don't necessarily approve of for ourselves. However, the reality is that people are going to do those things. I think what's most important is reconciling with yourself. How do I get to a point to make sure that, I am allowing an individual to feel that they can come to me, in their time of crisis. Sometimes when people are really struggling, they need to go to the most powerful person that they know of. And when I say power, you understand how I'm using it. So I think that while we have our standards, I encourage everyone to try to get to a point where you make it so that individuals feel that, they can come to you and, you're going to be able to listen to them without being critical of them. But I just want to.
Can I add something? And
please.
I think there's a fine line though between making yourself accessible and also enabling. And I think that's the challenge right there, because I think everybody here wants to be accessible to all their kids. I have no doubt about that. Looking at everyone here, that everybody wants to help, but it's a fine line, and sometimes we don't know it. And I had to find out the hard way that I'm accessible, but I also was enabling, and I didn't even know I was enabling, and that was making matters worse. And it was a big wake up lesson, because you want to be accessible, but it is a fine line. And I don't think we know where that line is crossed. I don't. Yeah, you gotta make them comfortable, but let's also kind of know educate ourselves, and I had to educate myself with when am I crossing the line.
There's a lot of feedback coming from somebody. If you don't mind muting your line if you're not speaking.
James, I think you mean come to you, not cope to you.
Oh,
I
didn't even see that.
Thank you, James.
Oops.
Sharon, I agree with what you said about this defined line, but I know also what I had to have a lot of conversations with, some of my members and my personal gay kids. It was really about noun placement, and it's the people and places and things that you surround yourself with, where you lose control. And I always kind of like reference myself and my behavior to kind of give them the best example, because like I know that when I will go, like, for transparency, on the weekends when I would get high, I would go to the clubs. I would be dancing at the Roxy on Saturday, go to the after hours, change my clothes, go to discotheque on Sunday. So for me, it was I would be getting high in a dancing type of atmosphere, and then I would go back to my regular life on Tuesday, because Monday I need to sleep because I was wore out from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I would start to realize what quote unquote triggers were, or the people that I was hanging around that would pull that out of me. So I changed my surroundings, my people, place, and things, so that way I wouldn't be subjected to that. And even in that, when I started having them kind of conversations with my kids, talking about noun placement, I run noun placement down to the ground. Some of them are able to understand and grasp what I'm saying, but it's still that percentage that we could talk about it, but they're going to still do what they want to do at the end of the day.
If you have two devices, can you just mute one of your devices? I think that might be what's going on. If you're like on this and have it on another device.
So if I was to add a comment, I would say I'm hearing us say a lot about making a space for people to come to you to have that discussion with you, but sometimes you might not be the right person, and you have to have set your ego aside to understand that. So when I did HIV work, I used to train testers that when somebody tests HIV positive with you, you are now part of their journey. It is your responsibility. When they tell their story, forever they're going to say, Ron diagnosed me, and then Ron took me over here, and this is how I get started journey. Same thing happens when I start that journey with you in that conversation. If you're not ready to take on that responsibility, that entire responsibility, not getting up, not going to the side of anybody else, you don't do it. Link to somebody that has that bandwidth to do that, because sometimes we get in ourselves in our own way, and we get in their own way as well. I think the other thing that we kind of don't talk about a lot is the mental health and substance abuse are mingled. It's yin and yang. There's not one without the other. I don't care what nobody says. When I was in school in the 90s, we had to pick two tracks. We had to pick mental health or criminal dependency. I picked mental health because I didn't want to work in criminal dependency. Well, in 2021, that's all I do. With a little touch of mental health on the side. So often you can't figure out which comes first, the chicken or the egg, and it doesn't really matter. And so if you're not willing to deal with that depression and that anxiety and that guilt that comes with getting them into recovery in a long-term process, you might not be the one hand them off, go one hand up to somebody else who can.
Yeah. I'd like to say something that when Dave and I first started to talk about how we could make a difference, and she told me about the leaders of Ballroom were going to get together. And for me, that was a very empowering moment, because the children really look up to you all. And for many of the children, this is family. I mean, this is it. And so, like Racine said in the chat, she said, we have to talk about mental health. I looked up some statistics today, and it said 41% of people who have a substance use disorder also have a co-occurring mental health disorder. And it usually hasn't been addressed in any way. And I like to call myself the official stalker on Facebook, because I stalk the children so that I know what's going on when they come in to talk to me. I already know what happened. I already know what they use. And I don't hide the fact that I am a victim of substance use disorder. I was a heroin addict for 14 years, and I was a harm reductionist before I ever went to nursing school. So from my perspective, there were a lot of things that came across my path, but harm reduction allowed me to have choices and take part in my own life. Prior to that, it was, you have to go to detox. You need to quit using. It was all these mandatory things, and it was never, well, here's what we have to offer. We've got abstinence, we've got harm reduction, you can go into detox, you can do an outpatient program. We have all these options, and then talk to somebody who's been through one of these options, and then let them make their decision. But my observation from our children in DC and some in Baltimore is that they're not yet what I call chaotic, using chaotically. Now, there are some older in our community that are in the ballroom that are chaotic users, but the majority of our kids from my stalking are not. And I think that gives all of us the opportunity to change their lives. And I love the idea that there's test strips at the ballroom events. We should always have fentanyl strips. We should always have Narcan. And if you all are ever without, please let me know, and I will make sure that you have it and have what you need to test anything. Because I've met with the lieutenant from Ward 8, and he told me that they tested every drug that they confiscated, from weed to heroin, and everything has fentanyl in it. And the point is that the fentanyl doesn't always take a lot. And so what might kill me is not going to kill Deja. Or, different strengths, or if you reverse it, Deja may die. You just don't know how a person's system can tolerate any of the strengths. So our big enemy right now is this fentanyl, and it's in everything.
Yes.
And so even if we, there's an organization called Dance Safe, and they have an office in DC. And they will actually come to events and test drugs. They started out in like the rave communities out in California on the West Coast, but they now have a DC office. And they, someone like that can even come and test drugs for people at the event. But I think the most important thing we can do is listen. My experience with some of the children is that no one in their life has ever listened. And whether it's a confession or it's, I did this and it's funny, whatever it is, we can listen, and then collectively, you all as leaders are the impact that's going to change this. And the fact that you're even on the video, it just makes me feel amazing that you care about the children. It's not just me and Deja.
Thank you. Yeah, and we want to thank y'all too again for taking time from y'all schedule, because it's not early in the day either. So thank y'all for being here again too for this conversation.
Yeah, I want to speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yes, I totally agree with a few things you just said. You definitely have to listen. And I am all for stalking the children on social media. If anybody saw the last community event we did, that's something that we we kind of highlight it, but we said that we would do it as a task force, as a team, right? Just mainly just being aware of what you see on social media, and if it looks a little troublesome, then you find a way to reach out to that person. So I'm all for that. But I've never heard the term chaotic. Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard that. But what I want to go back to the first question, and I just wanted to say, and it was said a couple of times down here about creating safe spaces and building trusting relationships. I've been lucky enough to have been able to occupy a lot of different spaces, particularly for young people. I ran OTA with Lego. I did Bug Nights with Jack and them for a couple of years, and now we have Ballroom with Care. So that made it a little bit easier for me where people actually come to me, right? So I don't often have to reach out to people to have those discussions. They come to me. One of the things that I'm noticing too, and also too, that's when we talk about creating that safe space, I think because they see me in so many different spaces, you know what I mean? We've been able to develop a relationship. They feel safe enough to reach out to me. But in addition to that, this was also said as well, most of the people that reach out to me just want an ear to listen. They just want somebody to listen to them. They don't want nobody to judge them. They may not even want any resources. They just want you to listen.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. There's some feedback going on too. Again, just try to mute y'all if y'all not speaking at the time. I don't know where the feedback coming from. It almost sounds like somebody's like listening to the live and like on here or something. I don't know. It's gone, whatever it was. You want to give me the next question?
Here for the next question.
Yeah. So why do you all think it's so hard for the ballroom community to effectively address substance use? I know we talked about, and many of you have said, you know, that one of the main things you hear is I'm grown, and that could be one of the reasons. But why else do you think it's so hard for us as a community, more so as leaders of the ballroom community, to effectively address substance use?
Status in ballroom, the status.
Hello?
Status in ballroom.
Go ahead.
That is based on status.
Go ahead, Charles.
Me? Okay. I feel as though, I always say myself, me being a functioning addict, someone that, indulges in drugs, stuff like that. It's hard sometimes when people think that I'm probably not the right messenger because you know how open I am with my use. So it's hard to say to someone, listen to me when they see you a certain kind of way. So it's like, you may have good advice for them, or you do something that you've been through, you survived, you've lived through, because you're not the right messenger they don't want to hear. Some things you should check, you should be saying after period. But it doesn't always work. If I've been through this, if I've survived this, if I've seen my friends survive this, I have something important to say. And sometimes it's the stigma of the person that's delivering the message that people don't really want to hear. So that's kind of hard as well.
I think so if I'm being real here, I think the biggest issue that we can effectively address substance use or abuse is because a lot of individuals in ballroom are scared to tell people the truth. A lot of people in ballroom don't want to take responsibility for the monster they created, for lack of a better word. When they was 15, 16, and you took them on tour with you and gave them their first bag, and they're raging out of control doing crystal methamphetamine, you don't want to take responsibility because your conscience is affected. And you have to know that's not me. They went too far. I remember in 2019 when a few people who died overdosed, and some people were on crystal methamphetamine. I was having a debate on Facebook and telling someone, well, crystal methamphetamine does the same thing to the brain that cocaine does. It's just 200% more. And it's the withdrawal was longer and the effects are longer. So when you shared that bag with them in the club and that wasn't enough for them and other things started kicking in, they went to the next level, you let them go. Like I had a conversation with one of my kids when I was at a ball in Atlanta, and he was over one of his brother's houses, and he kept saying, "Oh my God, Dad, there's like bags of coke all over the house," and he just keep going. Bitch, you ain't say nothing? No, that's my brother. He said he'll do it on the weekend. So when your brother died, what you gonna see at the funeral? Well, he only did it on the weekends. You sound a fool because we are scared to not be popular. We're scared to get in this cancel culture situation where you say something opposite of the norm, because it sounds like drug use is being so appreciated and celebrated, and it's not the norm. When you speak out against it, you become the minority. You're the one judging. And there's a way to say, hey, there are other options without sounding judgy, but some people don't want to hear that. The minute somebody says, ooh, child, I'm going to have my last meal tonight at 1 o'clock, everybody kicks and says, oh, me too, girl, blah, 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 call the man. These jokes and things, we don't want to not be popular. We don't want to be ostracized. At the same time, we're scared to speak up because we don't want to be canceled, and everybody wants to be liked.
Tim,
or our brother, sister, cousin, auntie is the one selling the drugs, and we know they're selling the drugs. But we don't do nothing about that neither. And
or they mother and they father doing it with them, or the house leaders.
Right.
I was gonna say that.
I think also.
No, go ahead, Harold.
Shane. I think one of the problems also is that there becomes these expectations because okay, here's a panel of icons and legends, so they're gonna figure this out. But you have individuals that are not trained in mental health. You have individuals that are not trained in substance use. So the expectation becomes that these individuals are able to solve these problems for people because they have these parental titles, that they're able to solve these problems in the community, and they're not trained and educated to do so. Also, the dynamics that make up the relationships that we have with these people are relationships whereas people, well, you're the father. I've heard people say this to me, like, you're the father, you should be able to. No, we're talking about other grown people. This is not my biological child. And though we have these relationships and we are influential, these are still adults that are going to make their own decisions. So I think sometimes there becomes this false expectation that all you guys have to do is sit down and say stop, and then it's going to end. I mean, I know people don't look at it like that, but it's almost like this type of false idea. So yes, there are things we can do, and I agree with everything that's been said thus far. There are things we can do, including those people that we know are dealers in the community, addressing that. I think that we can definitely work towards better educating the leaders how to direct people to trained sources of information, and know what signs to look for, as well as be prepared with like Narcan and other stuff like that to be able to address emergency situations. But I think that we have to better structure ourselves to be able to guide people in the right direction, and not just leave this expectation that as icons, parents, legends, whatever the case, that we're going to be able to just solve the problem without any real training. Shannon, you was about to go? Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
So the mother go. Mother was talking. I'll wait after she finished talking.
Okay.
Thank you. I agree. We're not all trained. Even as a nurse, I'm not trained. But I do think what we can do as leaders is we can prevent deaths. And if we can do that, we've made a huge change. We can have a 2-people team at every event that has the Narcan or the testing strips, or who's ready to save a life. And we have training for overdose. We have training for even how to make the 911 call. Never use alone. We have all these little training tips that we can filter out into the community. And it's not just Ballroom. I mean, 88,000 people died in 2020 of overdose deaths in the US. And it was the highest number ever recorded, ever. So I think that, our role would be to prevent deaths, and where we can, guide them to a professional. Or
we've given out.
They want to go.
Yeah, we've given out Narcan at balls here in New York City before. We've never given out any fentanyl strips. However, we've given out Narcan before, so that is a really good strategy. However, it's challenging though getting people to come to that table, taking the Narcan. That was our challenge, but we definitely had it.
So, yeah, the team on the spot would be the difference. You know, they can even wear a little patch, and it just says like OD team or some overdose team, because you know the Narcan can only help for the opiates, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a convulsion or a seizure from some of the other drugs. There can always be that emergency, and those two people are prepared, know how to make the 911 call so that the police don't come, and just some strategies to be prepared. And then if there was some way that we could pass little messages out, and it's, you know, don't never use alone is a good one, because you can't use Narcan on yourself. You know, I think that this is a good starting point, and that we could do some bullet points of where you as leaders want to take this. And I totally agree. You know, none of us is a psychiatrist, and I don't know about substance use disorder, but it's a journey. But I think we might be the first step.
Miss Billy, you taking all my stuff. That's my skill.
I was about to say, like, Billy going into my next question. Like,
Yeah, I'm telling my clients, use a designated partner, have a designated youth partner, because you can't use Narcan on yourself. I think, Tim, to your point, what I would do when we have a health department at our balls here, I train the health department, stop standing behind a damn table. Nobody's grabbing the damn condoms. Nobody, even in 2021, nobody's grabbing a condom off the table. Somebody's sitting there. Move from the table or go around and put the stuff on the table. There's certain, I know I'm in Ohio, so I'm in the bed of opiate addiction. We're third in the country. And I can tell you in the first quarter of this year, which ended the first quarter of 2020 during the pandemic, we had more overdose deaths in that first quarter than we ever did in 2019, the whole year. So it's like, you know, and also, Ms. Billy, to your point, I run an MAT clinic here. And so like, you know, even like just the other day, our Narcan kits expired. You can only hand them out after 2 years. I took them damn boxes and put them in my goddamn trunk. And I hand them out. I go out to the shelter and I just hand them out. Say, here, take them. It's just like your mother give you old antibiotics. They gonna do something. Something's better than nothing.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Shannon. You was gonna say something earlier.
Oh, well, back to the question about why is it hard to get over first address substance abuse in the ballroom. Was one, and Jason hit on it too, is that we got parents selling to their kids. We got parents doing it with their kids. We got parents at the ball doing it, and as a community, we accept it. You know, and when I mean by accept it, we still give awards and we praise those parents knowing that they do wrong. We do it all the time.
That's what I said.
You know, we allow them in our space. We allow our kids in our space do it, and when we allow them in our space and do drugs in our space, we're pretty much saying it's okay. And I know I'm a lot stricter than a lot of people on this panel right here, because you know I still consider myself kind of old school. And you know what? I tell straight up, don't do it in my house. Don't bring it around me. Period. That's it. We're not playing this game. We're not doing this. And I firmly believe that as parents, how you say we have to educate ourselves. We do. We can't wait for someone to educate us. We got to educate ourselves. My job is to make sure there are resources for my kids. Period. Whether it's AIDS, homelessness, drugs, whatever it is, there's resource. Mental health, there's resources for it. I'm here to give them a resource. So I may not be the person that they want to talk to, but if I know there's a problem, hey, you know what? Let me call Kenya. Kenya, can you reach out to so-and-so and so? Elgin, can you reach out to so-and-so and so and have that conversation? If you need money, we'll allocate some resources for you, because I know there are certain things that you cannot come to me about because I'm too strict about. You know, mental health is my thing, and homelessness, yes, they can touch me. Drugs, I'm a little more strict about it. So I make sure there's resources for people to get things done. As a community, I do think that when we go to the balls and ask these nonprofits again, I don't believe in testing at a ball. I tell everybody that right there. Because you come to a ball and you test, you put that person in a whole different frame of mind if they find out they're positive, and we're not equipped to do that at the ball.
Well, that's happened.
And
Several.
I think it's us, and as I mentioned to Harold, because Harold wrote an eloquent post the other day, is that maybe we should start putting our allies and nonprofits to task and say, hey, listen, we need education. You want to come to our ball right here? Give us money to educate ourselves and some resources to help our kids. We can't do it alone. We need the help right here. And, you know, as a leaders here, we got connections. If we stand together, we can get the money. They try to use us on TV for games and everything, like for entertainment. Give us some money to help our resources, help our kids out there.
So here's a challenge. Here's a challenge for everybody on this panel. Y'all all know about Ballroom We Care. We started doing trainings 2 months ago. We post quite often via Facebook and Instagram. We're all connected via social media. Most of us. Most of the people who reached out to me for training are people who are not involved. People who are working at agencies, right, wanting us to come in and train their staff members. We hardly, well, since we've been doing it, again, for a few months, I think one person from Ballroom, maybe two people from Ballroom reached out to us to schedule a free crystal meth training. So I think that that's very important. And I think that, again, challenge not only the panel, but the people who are listening, right? Because I also think, too, and to Shannon's point, it's also important to educate the community, because I don't think a lot of people know what's in crystal meth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think that they really know what they're putting in their bodies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just to take it a step further, to Shannon and Tim's point, I also don't think people know what the actual drug does to your brain or what it does to your body, regardless of what's in it, how it affects your dopamine level, how it affects your mood swings, why do you feel a certain way when you're doing certain things, and on this day you're not getting so high, but this day you get really high off of X, Y, and Z. And I think that comes with education and training.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm gonna just jump in. Like I know Deja and Jamel have been in my training before. I do a CHW training, community health worker training. That is part of it. Like you have to go through that. You have to go through the Narcan training, and you get Narcan. And we definitely talk about how it affects the brain, how it affects your body, what's in it, the dopamine levels. We go over all of that because you're right. It is about what I think people just don't know. And the more they know, when they, and even in the classes, when people like know, they was like, oh my God, I never knew. And then it kind of puts them on a different trajectory. So
right.
absolutely 100% agree.
We've gotten stuff from your training, right?
Yeah.
You and I connected. I know we've got stuff from your training, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yeah, we did. Yeah.
Use some of your material.
But, and just not to belabor the conversation, I think Shannon hit a great point, is that we have all these agencies that want to come out and sponsor balls for the certain times of the year, or they want to give you money for cash prizes. Why not use that collectively and make them train our community? Become trainer, become peer support, and put the money where their mouth is. Instead of, I think a lot of times we see these big cash prizes that the drug companies want to throw at us and say, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, I'll give you X, Y, and Z. But let's figure out how to make that money work for people so we can save ourselves. The one, like I said, here in Ohio, with our health department and local agencies, they can't come to my ball. I don't care how much you want to give me. I can throw the ball by myself out of my own pocket. If you're coming to my ball, you come in with an agreement. You're not coming in with your badge or anything. You come to understand what the community is. You're not just coming to throw out conduit things. You're not getting a table on stage. You're not getting a table. You're gonna pay like everybody else to be a patron, so you can understand what the community needs, and then for the community will be comfortable with you. I've had so many people come to our health department and say, "Oh, I saw you at the ball, so I know I can trust you," as opposed to you standing behind the table with your lanyard on, with your nose stuck in the air, and we shuffle the goddamn comments.
Yep. You know, to that point, Ron, and I talked this to the rest of the team too. We got approached by some health officials that wanted to like, oh, how can I jump on and help? I said, what you can do is sit and listen to the conversation, and then we can talk about it. But listen to hear what's going on, what people are saying, because I think that's a thing that's missed. They want to come in and show face and some with great intentions, but it's not really being effective because they're not listening first and digesting what's being said by community. So thank y'all for being frank and open.
Yeah, I think piggybacking Kenya, and we said this in the past, we have to start telling these allies what we need and what we're going to do for us.
Yes.
Don't come into my space and tell me what you're going to do for me. Come into my space and listen to what I tell you. This is what I need from you.
Amen.
Yeah, we got to create our own programs too. You know what I mean? So we don't need to rely on them.
Yeah, don't invite me to a
Yeah,
table.
you can go for
Yeah, don't make decisions about me and then ask me what I think about it after the decision's been made. That's assholeish. And we have to learn that we have to learn that we create our own tables and we invite those people to sit at our tables on our terms. Until we understand that collectively, that's how much power we have. We are the gatekeepers of our community. And once we say it's okay, then the rest of the community is going to follow behind us. But we have to hold that gate hard and we have to stand at that line.
Many times they take grants from the community. They have no business taking. They just have good grant writers. They take the money, and then when they come to the ballroom, they're able to fill their numbers for that grant in one event.
Yep.
And they have no business taking the grants in the first place. And then, in a way, it's kind of enabling them. Numbers to prove it.
That's right.
Really good point.
Yeah, we're more than numbers.
Yeah, we got to approach Dante. We just had this conversation yesterday.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to ask y'all, Billy kind of touched on it earlier, and we talked about how mental health and substance abuse and use almost goes like hand in hand. So with the question that was just asked, I want to know, do y'all think that part of it too is that a lot of the community has one or the other going on, and so it's hard for them to attack it and address it when a lot of times we as leaders or just people in the community haven't addressed our own and came to terms to say, I have a substance use problem. I have a substance abuse problem. I have a mental health disorder that I haven't taken the time to actually deal with. So, I wonder if part of it is, if you can't look yourself in the mirror and say, I have this going on, it's kind of hard for you to then turn around and say to somebody else, you have this going on.
And I think that the piggyback on what you said, Dante, that goes to what Charles was saying earlier about you could be the wrong messenger because you're dealing with your own inner demons and you're dealing with your own shit that you can't deliver that message of whatever. And I think that, like Shannon was saying too, here in Philly, when I do the list ball for Gay Pride, I don't allow no organizations to do any testing because personally, I know all of us on this panel, not to say that HIV is not relevant because it is, but I suffer from HIV fatigue. Like I know that there's so many other things, there's so many other layers of stuff that's going on that we need to tackle and talk about. And I always keep saying mental health, because it's obvious in our community, mental health is the main number one issue. And if we're able to address mental health first, then we can start to unpack everything else along the way. But we're not addressing the mental health factor, like we're just not. And that's part of the reason why we are enabling people in the community and why we can't tackle substance abuse, because we keep enabling their mental health behavior. Like, oh, child, that's just so-and-so. Oh, no, they didn't mean it like that. That's just this, that's just that. Like, we're not having these real conversations with them, or they're not getting the help they really need.
I think that, first of all, we got to be really careful in terms of how we diagnose people, right? Because I think, particularly in our community, we're misdiagnosed, right? We're misinterpreted, we're misunderstood, and that could easily be interpreted as a diagnosis. I think we have to be mindful of that first. But I also, too, to your question, right? So we got to think about mental health and its association with substance use. But you also got to think about how we in Ballroom, I think, as a whole, are traumatized. Just based on the shit that we see on a daily basis, right? So is that considered mental health? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. It's repeated trauma. It's not just one traumatic event. It's on and on and on. And it's also the expectation of when you go to work on Monday, is that going to be the day that you get traumatized all everything? And it's also a lot of trauma and a lot of grief. And the grief is not about death. The grief is about loss of family, loss of housing, loss of food, loss of car. I mean, it is in some cases a death. That grief and trauma combined is a hell of a combination. And the drugs soothe those feelings. They can soften it, if only for a short period of time, and make it go away.
Right, but then you also got to also keep in mind that drug use can also lead to mental health conditions. Right, so I think it's also important to acknowledge that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you from dealing with a mental health condition or what have you, and then you soothe it right by taking drugs, and then certain drugs can also lead to a more exacerbated mental health condition or diagnosis.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I also think that there's a cycle of connection of both of them. You can have someone who did not have mental, like Tim said, and they get off the drug, and they're going through this whole cycle of grief for not having that drug. Because once you lose something we've become accustomed to as a coping skill, it does become grief. It's like breaking up in a relationship or something. I think the other thing is, we are as a community outside of Ballroom, just as persons of color, we are perpetually going through a state of PTSD. And I think that some of us don't realize how much trauma we've experienced in our lives from the core. My mother would say came to the core, because we're so used to being sick and tired. So when we start feeling good, we think that that's an odd feeling. Or when we turn to the drugs to get us to where we're at, to cope, to get us to that extra high or get to the mood, when it's gone, we don't know how to cope without it. And so I know the first time I talked a lot about coping skills when the triggers happen, things like that. For many of us, I'm not excluding myself, we're dealing with constant mental health issues and we have to check ourselves. The 80s decimated us. The 80s and early 90s decimated us. I'm almost 50. I don't look it, but I'm almost 50. However, I'm an elder in the ballroom community. That's not okay. When you're 46, you consider the elder because you're black people above you. We've been decimated through this pandemic. We've had people who are forced to have to do drugs in the house with their abusers and tormentors, and we wonder why the overdose rate is higher. So we're not answering to what those answers are because we haven't started with ourselves. Some of us don't know what it feels to be okay, whether it's drugs or not. Some of us have not been trained that it's okay to not be on something to feel normal.
Speaking from the girl's point of view, when you speak about mental health and drug and substance abuse, like for some of the girls in the community, especially the ballroom girls, you know, they do sex work. They do sex work, and for me, I'm speaking for me. I remember when I was in that situation. For me to cope with the actual fact of me having to do this to make money, I would have to do drugs. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because you, like, it's a mental health thing. Period. That you already got to go through, and for you to get out of that mind frame, out of that space, baby, I'm gonna take me a bump. I might pop me an e-pill. You're gonna do something to numb that mental health. You're gonna do something to numb that mental health. Just like when you get ready to walk a ball, baby, you be nervous. Boots, baby, what you gonna do? Girl, give me that bump. I'm gonna turn this. I'm gonna turn it out. I'm gonna eat it up. So yes, I feel like with use, there's always mental health.
I'd love to hear more from Charles about that.
I heard someone mention the term coping before, so and I think that you guys said maybe the first panel that was something that was discussed, but I think that that is a whole nother component of when people come into these spaces that we tell them are supposed to be safe spaces, and then they have to come in and they have to there's a lot of anxiety. Let's be real. All of us have walk balls. There's a lot of anxiety getting on stage in front of potentially 500, a couple thousand people. So, coming into that space, that's a lot for people. And then making it so that, if they don't do well, they're red, we're no longer making this a safe space. So we're putting it a situation where people are going to have to get a drink. They're going to have to, be, high to kind of deal with, the backlash of whatever happens on stage. So I think that, that's something too that we should start looking into, more so not having such a bullying mentality and dealing with, people in the community.
What do you mean when walking balls you're talking about? Harold? You talking specifically about walking categories?
Well, yeah. Well, so I'm talking about, like, a lot of times someone will walk a ball and then they'll get chopped and then they'll get read down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that is traumatizing to some people. It's a key to the rest of us, in the moment, because it's not us. But I mean, I was actually with someone who's a well-known legend at this point, and they actually got read, on stage. And while it was a key, this and that, whatever the case, the person busted into tears when they got out of the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was hours later. So so there are long lasting effects when we are ridiculing people, and sometimes there are things that happen that we don't look at as as being a cause to the effect.
No, I agree. I totally agree with you. And I think too, when we talk about trauma, yeah, those little things too, we can't gloss over. You know what I mean? And I think that when you think about a community, right, that was designed by us and for us to provide support for our, you know what I mean, for the community, and then you experience it. I mean, you have these experiences that we just talked about. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I agree. Like those little things too.
So if I push back on both those statements, Tim and Harold, and we used to quote Ballroom was built on shade, and that's what everybody responds to when people get upset because they got chopped and got voted over. I remember in Atlanta in December, it was Virgin Performance. Luke Kyle he didn't get chopped, he got voted over, and she threw tables at everybody. And so that's not a normal response in Virgin category, and you just lost the last battle. However, when people express those things as, oh, I got shade and this, and we always say, why we put on shade, you get to develop thick skin. At what point do we listen to what we're being told? At what point do we not cross that line?
Well, I think that situation was an outlier of what normally happens.
No, I know that's extreme.
Right. So we can't, I don't want to take, those situations and make them see, but I do think that, we have that responsibility, as leaders to kind of, educate people in advance. You know what I'm saying? We don't think about, telling people that, hey, you may go up there, you may potentially get chopped, this and that, whatever the case, this and that. We don't talk about that. We don't prepare people for that. We go out there, oh, you're good. You're going to win, girl. You're going to turn it. This and that. And when they don't happen, they're disappointed in themselves. They feel that they've let down the people who've motivated them. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that our conversations also should be around, go have fun, do the best, do the best you can do. I think that, a very valuable lesson I heard Raquel give, actually to Shannon, very early on when, Shannon first became a Balenciaga, and it was she said, you have to be satisfied that no matter what the judges decide, that you had a good time, so that if you gave it your best, you did your best, then, you have to be comfortable with that. And that's, what we have to get people to have that mindset, not to feel like very, they've been a disappointment. And then you have a situation like that young man who, decided he wanted to throw tables or do whatever the case and go crazy.
But isn't that part of, but isn't that, some of that is kind of, I hate to say it, learned behavior based on a house and the people that are around them? Because, I mean, like, I'm looking around here, I tell my kids, right there, nobody wins all the time, period. It doesn't happen.
Well,
doesn't happen. No, I'm just saying.
Honestly, in that situation, person was brand new, was a Virgin category.
My part right there. So I think that, and I know there are other houses and other leaders that people don't act that way. And I think also when we're in a space where we have leaders that behave in a certain way, the kids mimic that. I can look at all of us now here. We're all leaders. We all have our own houses, and our kids follow us. I know that when my kids are on the runway, if they lose and I feel like they get ready to do something, I can give them a look, and that's that. We don't have to say nothing else. That's that, because I take it real. Like, nope, that's it. Don't come to the judges. That's something we have to instill in our kids. We have teachers. Now, as far as reading, I read my kids. And when I get this call, I'm going to read somebody in a few minutes. We read right there. That doesn't mean I don't love you. That doesn't mean I don't respect you. Like, I keep it real with you. If you're a pickle, I'm going to call you out. You are a pickle. I'm not going to dance around it, anything else. You are a pickle. Get your life together. We got to be real with our kids. We can't set them up for failure. I'm not from that old school, oh, kumbaya, everybody's a winner. No, there's only one winner. One by win tonight. You gave it a good try. You had fun, but there's only one winner. We'll be back next week. We just got to keep it real with them. I mean, and that doesn't mean we have to love them and we got to be mean, but we got to be honest.
I think Jason was going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think that, I agree with both what Harold and Rodney both said. I mean, Harold and Shannon just
I
said.
don't look like Rodney. That's how I was going to read somebody. I don't look like Rodney.
I think on a bigger scale, this is bigger than us. And what I say by that is Ballroom has become a bigger lens than what it was for all of us icons and legends that's on this call right now, and panel, excuse me. And it's people coming into the scene not knowing certain things, not knowing stuff, and they're basing it on what they see in clips. So when they come to the ball, they walk and they get chopped and they act crazy, or they go off like that. It's not so much that we're not having conversation with our members, because just like Shannon, I keep it very real with the prodigies. If you ain't do good, you ain't do good. And I ain't going to let you go out there looking crazy. But if you think you look good, go out there and see what happens. Tonight might be your night. You may make me gay. You may make me be like, oh, bitch, well, you look fast to me, but the judges was living. Okay. But
it has happened.
It's happened. But I think that when it comes to like the behavior and how, going back to what we were talking about, that individual that happened in Atlanta, a lot of times stuff like that happens from people that's not in houses. They're just new to the ballroom scene, and they see what they see on YouTube and Pose and Legendary, and when they come in, they automatically want to be that girl, so they feel like they could be that girl by acting that way.
Well, isn't that why we got the Kiki scenes now? That's the training ground for a lot of people.
But let's be honest.
It's not a training ground.
The Kiki scene is not a training ground. Like the Kiki scene is just like it's just like they act. They like Shannon was saying too. They act like how we act. They mimic us. So they do the same thing that we do in the Kiki scene. You got the Harold of the Kiki, the Shannons, the Jason, the Charleses, the Dantes, the Rons. They act just like us. The Deja, they act just like us.
Well, you know what? And I was going to say this earlier. I wanted us to, at some point, maybe in a whole nother discussion, to really look at the correlation between stigma and status. I think that would be a really important discussion, especially when we're talking about like substance use and ballroom. And we talked about this a little bit earlier here about creating that safe space. You know what I'm saying? And I think with that concept, we can also talk about why spaces might not be safe for certain people. You know what I'm saying? Because I think when you think about status and ballroom, and I think Harold was mentioning it, people have certain expectations of other people. You know what I mean? People sometimes are afraid that they might let you down because you're an icon. You know what I mean? You're the father of the house, or you're whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that, especially when we're talking about substance use, we're talking about coming to certain people and having that conversation around, look, this is what's going on in my life. You know what I'm saying? And not have this fear of letting somebody down. So I just think that at some point we should have that conversation. You know what I mean? Stigma and status, and figure out the correlation between the two.
Good point. Good point. Can you put that comment from Malik back up real quick? So Malik, when we were talking about the last thing, said, imagine going to your safe haven and you're ridiculed. It can drive you deeper and deeper into depression. We can all do better and be careful of what we do and what we say. And I think to what Harold was saying, I think someone throwing a table or getting that mad because of a chop that's something that I think, like y'all said, a conversation needs to be had with them and the leader to understand this may happen. However, I think that there's a big difference between someone being chopped and somebody being ridiculed. And we've all seen where commentators can go too far on the mic sometimes with what they have to say to people that are walking. And I think that's more so when the ridiculing can come in at times. And yeah, it's ballroom. We should have tough skin and all that. But I think part of that may also be learned behavior and us breaking generational curses. So I think, like Malik said, we can all do a better job, and sometimes not going so far with people because we don't know what they walked into the ballroom with that they already dealing with before they got there. They come in here to try to let it out and come to a safe space. You want to bring up the next question?
Yeah, let's talk about the status. If people with certain status think they can do certain things.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things we talked about was we wanted to walk away with some like tangible things, right? So I'm looking at everybody, but I'm also looking at some of our subject matter experts. I'm looking at Billy, Ron, and Tim. What are some effective ways leadership can address substance use within their houses and services? I know we touched on them a little bit, but if you had to give us a list, because I'm going to write it down, that's why I was fumbling, what would it be? What's a list of things we could do?
Normalize having open conversations about drug use and drug use disorder and the difference, what it is. There's a difference between someone who suffers from substance use disorder and someone who's using drugs recreationally, and what that thin line is. Preparing for having Narcan kits on hand. Like I know all of us will be at the West Ball, most of us. We'll be at the West Ball. Having Narcan kits on hand, because you never know what's going to happen that weekend. Having fentanyl testing kits on hand. Understanding that everyone's not going to come to you because they don't want to be judged or because you're the father, whatever the house, but make a safe space saying, hey, this is what we have in this room over here. All of us have hotel rooms. Hey, there's a bag over in the corner. If you want to get, just go in the corner and get what you need out of it. Same way we have, remember back in the day when people use condoms, we should travel with condoms. It's the same thought, same mindset.
I think one of the things, I think that start holding people accountable. One of the last things that one of the things I said in our last meeting regionally here in the DMV is, we understand that there are people that do, whatever they do. Okay. However, you don't have to be a gate. You don't have to be the gateway. If a person doesn't do drugs or doesn't drink, you should be introducing them to that. Oh, here, this will help you, calm down, or get them to a point that you can get them to do what you want them to do. So when there are people that do that, then we have to start holding those people accountable.
Accountability. Just love it.
Thank you, Milan.
Anyone else?
I think almost similar to what Ron was saying. Create safer spaces for people, and I think also just being aware. You know what I mean? I think someone said this earlier about stalking people on social media, right?
Billy.
So just be aware. You just got to be aware, and also too, I think reaching out to and connecting with resources or organizations in your area that are legit. You know what I mean? That are not just about numbers. And that might be a bit challenging. You know what I mean? But I think that's definitely something that we can consider. And then also reach out to Ballroom We Care. We can't save the world, but we do a little something to try and help the community.
I feel like it should be. I feel like it should be included or implemented into your house meetings. Especially when you have like gathering where there's a dinner table. Let everybody sit around and have dinner together and bring up the conversation. I think that would help more. Bring it up during family time.
Deja, I want to bring this up. This is something that Monique has kind of touched on, and maybe you can kind of go a little bit further with it. And she had Monique had pointed out that a lot of times with our women and our trans women in the community, that substance use starts with prescribed medication after getting a different body augmentation. So I think that that's something too that we have to look at. Prescription medicine. There's the abuse of Percocets and those things. After people have surgeries and things like that. So I don't know, like, of course, like how we go about doing that, but I guess that's something else that maybe we should be looking into.
Addiction has been known to come from girls getting surgery and then them having prescribed pills. But after those prescribed pills, they become addicted to the feeling, and it's no longer them taking it to heal. It's now them taking it because it feels good, or takes them to a place where they want to be. Um, it just doesn't only come from the medical people. It also comes from online as well. You have a man online right now. Well, I don't know if he's still up there. That's selling e-pills on Jack. And he's calling it perk 30s when there's no such thing as a perk 30 in the USA. There's no such
Mhm.
thing. There's no such thing as a perk 30. And these babies are out here getting high off of this, thinking that, it's the same thing I've been taking, child, since what they gave me since my surgery, and that's not the case. That's not the case. And then, but in the midst of that, somehow they transition from popping the pill to sniffing it. They're sniffing these pills. They're not just popping them, they're crushing them up like they're doing coke. So it is really a big issue. And it can stem from having surgery, being prescribed the medication.
That's a whole topic right there.
That's all right. That's part two.
That's a
That's
whole.
another conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's deep. Damn.
And I think Billy's trying to say something, but you're muted, Billy. I can't hear you. I think you're muted. There you go.
Someone told me it was a pill. I thought they meant capsule, but I mean, this isn't somebody making meth in the barn. This is a large manufacturing company that is actually putting fentanyl in
Yes.
Percocets. This is big business. And
Yes.
nothing is safe. The fentanyl is in everything. And I think one of the things we do in harm reduction is when we pass those messages out, say at a family meeting, they're short, like bullet point. That will start the conversation, but when you first, a short bullet point will stick with you longer than a message will. Don't use alone, or whatever you all come up with. Hey, did you hear about Narcan? Do you know what Narcan is? Or introducing these thoughts.
Yeah.
So that you're not. It's like motivational interviewing. You're not asking them yes/no questions anymore. You're asking them to respond, and those bullet points will really start the conversations.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Jason. Same.
They kind of touched on everything that I was going to say.
Charles, Shannon. Either one of y'all got anything for this?
Well, I was gonna say the same thing that kind of what Mother said before. For me, what I do in my house, when I just drive by and stop by, so it's not unheard of for me to pop up at one of my members' job unannounced, to see if you're at work, and they hate that I know their managers, and that's what I give. I pop up at their house. They did a call at me 8:30 in the morning while you still in bed. What time you gonna be at work? What's your thing? I was on social media. I didn't see you there. I'm a stalker. They get annoyed, but I know deep down inside they know I care. That it's more than just when you're going to a ball. But in the middle of the week, I'm passing by your neighborhood. I pop up at the door. Who's in your house? What you doing? Why it smell like this? Laundry. So yeah.
Okay, I feel like I say, if you're ever in a position where something happens and you're just scared, it's okay to call 911. It's okay. Like if someone ODs or passes out in front of you, a lot of times people get scared or leave the room, or even it's okay to call 911. It's okay to also have a friend or someone there. You can't get high around everyone. You can't, because it could cost you your life sometimes. You have to be prepared for anything to happen. I mean, your point is to have fun, but accidents happen, overdoses happen, and if you're scared, you can call 911. You can.
There's actually be a way to call 911 so that the ambulance comes and not the police. You know,
That's what I'm thinking. That's
you
exactly
just answer the questions. You never mention drugs. And the difference is, when we teach how to make that phone call, you just give the fact. My friend is unconscious. He's 44 years old. His lips are blue. He's convulsing. And that way, when the ambulance comes, it's a medical scene. If you start the conversation with, I think he OD'd, or you mention drugs, it's a crime scene. And the police will treat it as a crime scene and disrespect the person who really needs medical attention.
Right.
So,
That's good to know. Very good.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, and then when the ambulance gets there, you just grab one of them to the side and say, I don't know, but he might have used whatever, and because they have Narcan.
Yeah.
But wait till make it a medical scene, not a crime scene.
That's some great advice.
Yeah, also
Great
advice.
Yeah, I did not know that. That was good to know.
Yeah, I want to add real quickly. Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, that's really important to know. When it comes down to crystal meth use, there's this really intense period called the come down period when they're withdrawing. Right? Kenya, it's known to be extremely intense, right? Where they can even go through crystal meth induced psychosis, right? But I think another important piece to that is making sure that your basic needs are met. You know what I mean? When you're going through that period. So I think a good thing to really think about to tell people, who's using, that if you're going to use, just make sure that your basic needs are met, so that when you're going through that come down period, you have things like water, right? You have things like food and stuff like that. Maybe somebody to call or talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Kenya, you want to bring up our last question?
Yes, last question. But before I do that, I just want to say something. Anybody that's watching, if you're in the DC, Maryland, or Virginia area, I just got my new case with Narcan. So if you need them, let me know. I can get them to you. I actually have them delivered to my house. They even bring to my office. The health department sends them to my house, and I distribute them that way. So, just want to put that out there. All right. So next question is, all right. So, we are the Capital Ballroom Council, right? We also have these other councils and alliances around the country. How can local councils, alliances, and health departments support addressing substance use in your house or your social circles? What can we do to help support you?
Provide education. I firmly believe in trainer models, finding out who the leaders are in the house and training them on how to train or look for certain situations within the house. Sometimes people respond to a stranger coming to a house meeting and have a conversation, and others respond differently when it's their own house member who's giving them their education, which opens the door to somebody you want to see regularly. So learning how to teach them how to train in up-to-date and accurate information.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, because our training is very ballroom specific. So if it has anything to do with crystal meth, they can definitely reach out to us and figure out how we could provide training to them.
Child, if you plug Ballroom We Care one more time. One more time.
That's what you're supposed to do. It's like you're supposed to do.
Y'all care. Y'all care. We get it.
We care.
I think it should go the opposite direction. A lot of times we always say train the leaders, train the parents, train this. I think we need to train the ones underneath of us, not underneath saying above, but because we're all of us sitting here on this panel. Well, I can speak for myself. Don't plan on doing this forever. We have to turn the keys over eventually. So I think that we need to stop saying train the leaders, train the parents, and train the actual younger members of the stars and the statements to train them, because most times, I'm no longer at the after hours at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm home asleep. I got to make them to do in the morning. You know, they're out there with them. So you train them and passing the knowledge to them, it will kind of get the ball rolling so we don't have a generation gap to where all these leaders now know all this information and we're supposed to be passing it. We might not pass it, and then we'll skip over somebody when we could start with the stars and the statements first.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's definitely what, we've been focusing on that too.
I think Jason's 100% with that one. That's the right way to go.
What else? What are some other things?
I think promoting professional opportunities, helping people develop into professional opportunities will be beneficial. I think a lot of times, people look at and say, and just being 100% transparent and honest, you look at the people here. People are here and they're giving of their time, they're giving, of themselves. And, that expectation is that people will continuously do so. But, why can't there be opportunities created for people to have, be able to do this professionally? So I think that if we do that, even if it's on a part-time basis, people, then can, be able to, I don't want to say justify, because, again, most of us are here because of the love of what we do. But I think that, what gets lost a lot of times is that very, okay, well, this person is going to come do it. And these people are going to come. And it's this expectation that people will just continue giving of themselves, freely without any type of compensation. So, why not make it a professional opportunity to help people, build themselves towards professional opportunities?
Deja?
I would say when it comes to promoting substance awareness, can they try more to use people like us that are actually in the scene? I'm tired of seeing people go up there that who is she? I don't know who Bethany Mills is, honey. I don't know her. But I know Father Tony, I know her,
Definitely.
I know Shannon, I know, you know what I'm saying? I know Jason. Can we put some of those faces on some of these advertisements and commercials and things like that? You have to invest in the leaders as well. You have to invest in the leaders because we can't do it by ourselves. We're going to need your government money.
I be saying the same thing too when I see some of these ads. And I'm like, well, who is she? They're like, well, she's this ballroom. Like, I never seen her anywhere. I never seen a ballroom.
You know, it's funny here in Philadelphia because I'm on Pride. I put that issue up to the health department one year about how they were doing a HIV Stops With Me campaign, and the campaign they were using stock photos, so it didn't look like anybody. So I kind of, for the last 4 years now, not this year because of the pandemic, but I spearhead what the campaigns look like. To use people from the community that are like popular opinion people that live here in Philadelphia, so you can see like-minded faces, on these advertisements because it's more relatable. Like, Harold's saying put on a condom, or they're just saying don't do drugs, or we're gonna do that. But I think also too, it is time that us collectively, and I know a lot of us wear a lot of hats as is, but we collectively create our own campaigns and create the campaigns and just give it off to them, and they could buy it from us, so that way we know what the language looks like, we know what the community needs, we know what the faces like, we know these things, but we got to kind of create and drive their own vehicle and stop waiting for them to do it because they're not doing it.
Yes.
Advocate for us. I see a project coming on here.
I feel like it's because we're profitable.
I see a project coming up.
We could talk about it every day, but we got to do it though. You know what I'm saying?
We got to do it.
One at a time, yo.
I think it's because we're very profitable right now. Everybody want a training and a butch queen in their office so they can plan throwing the ball because they want the numbers for one so they can get more money off of us. And I've seen it done, and it's time to speak up about it, and it's time to be real about it. Like, you're not going to be sitting here, have me do all this work for free. For
barely paid.
Promote it, make sure all the tables are there, make sure the condoms are out, make sure we have the advisors and stuff showing them to the direction to the displays and things like that. And what is Ballroom left with? Okay, we got the information, but what are the resources afterwards? What you gonna do? Are you gonna call me the office thing to make sure I went to where I had to go to get into this rehab facility? Are you gonna do that?
No.
To piggyback off what Deja just said, because it just hit a trigger. They no longer go to us, right? Because they know we all on this panel have that attitude. They go to Kiki scene now. So I think that it's really time that we bridge the gap. And I know I was somebody that was very like in the beginning, I didn't really understand the Kiki scene for what it was today, but I have a better understanding and I understand it now. I think that we need to somehow bridge the gap between mainstream and Kiki, because a lot of times, let's call a spade a spade. Stuff like this is going on in Ballroom, but it's happening before they get to Ballroom. So they're doing drugs and getting high to Kiki balls, and they're coming into the Ballroom scene, from Jack and Grinder or whatever's out there, using drugs, using alcohol, doing unprotected sex. And it's like when they get in the Ballroom scene, now because we're leaders, icons, legends, and parents, we got to fix it all up. So I think that we got to figure out a way to be supportive of, like I was saying earlier, of the younger people coming in, because this, by the time it gets to us, we'll all be able to work together in unison, so it won't turn into them old bitter queens or them old icons, that whole thing.
Let me tell you this: we have a Kiki coalition here. I don't know about other regions, other states, but in our Kiki coalition here in New York City, that's where we have those conversations. You know what I'm saying? Create those coalitions, Kiki coalitions, and it's not only just the Kiki scene. It's a combination of the Kiki scene and the main scene. You know what I mean? And we talk about like those kind of issues.
Well, that goes to your previous point, Jason, about preparing and training, educating next in line.
Right.
I think the other piece, since we were so decimated in the 90s and 80s, we haven't done a good job in preparing the next people to take over, because we want to go here so quickly.
Agreed.
And so we kind of made it up as we go along. We made a lot of mistakes as icons on the way. So our job now is to prepare that next generation for when we hand over the keys, like you said, or sit down. And then we have to be okay with sitting in the background, because some of us leaders, some of us icons don't want to turn over the keys, and it's past your time. And you're just as detrimental and negative as the new kids comes into get you acting just like them, because you don't want to be forgotten. Because the things that you've done in the past, the negativity is only what's remembered. So now you want to rewrite your own history. But we have to understand that our jobs now is not anything but we've done all we can do in Ballroom. We've hit our pinnacle. Yeah. Now it's time for us to raise and train the next generation to not make the same mistakes and to live longer than we did or do more than we did prior to us.
Yep.
Thank y'all for that. Thank y'all. That was our last question. So at this point, first and foremost, we want to thank y'all. And we want to get final thoughts. What do you all want to leave the community with? What is any last thoughts that you have? Hopefully this is the beginning of many more conversations like this to come. I know this is not the first one. But yeah, I know it's not the first one, Tim. I know Ballroom.
We know Ballroom cares, Tim.
Ballroom cares, Tim.
No,
I care.
I meant for the Capital Ballroom Coalition. I mean Council. This is the first one, but yeah. Anything that y'all want to leave the community with? Now is the time to go ahead and give it to them.
This is a great one, but I don't want it to stop. And I think that when we have these conversations, it's almost like the new hashtag, right? So this is the new hashtag. We want to use this hashtag for a month or two, and then it will fade back into the black. I think that it's time for some serious action, and like they were saying earlier, everybody on this panel, accountability, and really getting some real work done, because we can't just solely rely on, all right, y'all, this is a Facebook post of January, and then we're back to the same Facebook post 3 years later. Like I said, at some point, we got to actually be the change that we see. So what do those next, well, Monty just said it too, what do those next steps look like? For real.
I think, and I don't even know if you remember this, Shannon, this might have been before I met you many years ago. I think you had a close friend who passed away, and you posted on Facebook, and you said something like, when I didn't want you to be upset with me when I took you to the club, when I know you didn't have your get your
Pebbles.
medication, I X, Y, and Z,
Yes.
right? And I keep that story with me. That's what I tell all my kids is I would rather you be upset with me and alive than dead and happy that I didn't say anything to you to piss you off. And that's the one thing I keep with me is understanding that when you don't say anything, you are culpable. You are responsible for that. We have to, the word today is accountability. We have to understand that they are watching what we're doing, they're repeating what we're doing, and they're mimicking what we're doing because we set the precedence on how they act.
And I would say one last thought to kind of piggyback on what you were saying is, I think it comes a point for me. I had two kids who passed, who died of relative drugs, Pebbles and Shy. Shy passed. I was in the hospital with him. When Pebbles, when I wrote that, my daughter, she did drugs. Everybody knew Pebbles. Pebbles did drugs. She was a party girl. She enjoyed it. She indulged. I tried to get away from her, tried to get her to get help. I was there the whole time. She told me about it, issues with it. I still, as much as hard as I try to be, I always gave her a safe space, kind of make sure that she was okay. And that she always knew that when she was ready for the help, I'll be here. Unfortunately, as I said there, when they got to the hospital, it got to a point where, you sit there and the only way she communicates is by blinking. And you go again and you go through these motions where, did I do enough? When we was at the club and I asked everybody, do you want to buy a drink? I didn't say nothing about the drugs. I turned a blind eye. When we went to the mall and you won and y'all went to the bathroom, I went and sat at the table. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't say nothing. And I felt like me being quiet was my mistake. I should have said something. I should have, and maybe it made a difference. I don't know, but I should have said something. And just that's where I'm at now. I say something now. I say something. Don't do it. It's not good because I don't want anyone to go through that.
Deja, Harold.
Well, I think that one of the most important things in going away from this is that try to go away with an open mind. Go away with an open mind that there's no one right answer for everything. There's no one right way to approach things. Over the years, I've met, some people you can be tough with, other people you have to use a different approach. And just, again, I can't emphasize enough, for all of us, be willing to have these conversations and let people know that, if you're not someone that they can come to, at least be able to direct them to someone. So being open, understanding that, substance abuse, the road to recovery is littered with a lot of relapse. So it's not easy. So don't give up on people. Just, hang in there and, with an open.
For me, I think something that we all could take from this is, as a parent or leader or even a mentor, we have to learn how to analyze the emotions of our children, because they will tell you that they're okay and nothing is wrong with them and everything is fine, and the whole time it's not. And because you didn't dig deeper into the situation that's going on with them, you end up losing them. You end up losing them, and then you feel like you've neglected your mentor or parenting duties, and that thing hurts so bad. It really, really did. It really, really, really did. DC has lost 2 babies already. 2 of them. 2 of them, 19 and 23. To substance abuse. And I just feel like, yeah, they know I'm here. Yeah, I'm going to ask them what's going on with them, but I don't really want to pry into their business because I don't want them to run off and be secretive about what they're doing. Period. Fuck it. Pry. dig into their shit, because I feel like if that had happened on behalf of the leaders and stuff, we would still have those babies here with us today. So just you have to study these kids. You have to study them. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to them. Ask them what's going on in their life. Ask them if they have a job. Ask them if they're in school. If they don't have, if they're not doing any of those things, you as a parent need to direct them to the correct resources. You have to carry around business cards in your pocket at the balls and stuff, and write little notes on the back of them, like, "Baby, call me here. That's my personal number on the back. We gonna have a talk." And you have to do it with the most utmost adult respect. You can't come off creepy because they'll feel like, this old fabulous trying to talk to me or something. No, you have to learn how to approach them, but you have to do it. You have to do it. Just pay attention to these babies. Just pay attention.
Thank you. Well, I think, yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think it's also important for us here on this panel and whoever else is listening that, and I had to learn this as a social worker, there might be some situations or some people that you just can't help. You know what I'm saying? So we have to realize that. We have to be okay with that. It's unfortunate, right? But there are some situations where you can't help people. But I think in addition to that, we talk a lot about creating that safe space and building that trusting relationship with your house kids or with your house members. You know what I mean? I think that sets the precedence for them to hopefully come to you and not be afraid to talk about some of their challenges. And also, too, don't be afraid to like think about creating our own shit, our own program. You know what I mean? We talk a lot about these other organizations and all these stipulations and these deliverables, right? And how they just view us as numbers, right? Let's think about figuring out how to create our own programs. You know what I'm saying? Advocating for ourselves. And the last thing I want to say is stalk kids, like someone said earlier.
Billy.
But you know what I mean, in a respectful way. Just be aware and kind of watch what we see on social media, because one of the things I noticed, and someone had passed New York maybe a month ago, and when I went to their Facebook page and I went down their wall, I was amazed at some of the stuff that I saw. Like all the signs were there. They were in live.
Mhm.
All the lives that they posted was right there. You know what I'm saying? I'll be looking at stuff like that.
Can I add one more thing? What Tim just said there. I think for us as leaders too, we are our brothers' keepers, and a lot of times we see something that happens in another house, and I've been guilty of this, and we don't say nothing to the leader of the other house. And I think we can start by that. Where if I see something, if you see a garçon or something, hit me up and say, "Hey, what's going on with this kid right here? Check him out right there." And likewise, I should do the same thing. We are our brothers' keepers, and if we see that, especially those who are on social media more, we see something, let someone know. But hey, you might want to look into this. This might be a problem. It just helps out every little bit.
Yeah, listening to y'all talk, what I was gonna say is the quote, this like age old, it takes a village to raise a child. I mean, I think that's like something that like we can think of it from that point. It's not gonna stop with just one or two of us, or like you just said, worrying about just your own people. It's gonna take all of us collectively to, first of all, want to fix this, and then two, working together to fix it. It was a question about next steps. So I know as far as like the Capitol Ballroom Council, one of the next things that we plan to do is to hold a private call with we want members from all of the different ballroom alliances, councils, in the Kiki scene and the mainstream. We want to have a private Zoom call with those councils in all the different states, and even if need be, international. And even if you're not on the council, something like that, and you're a popular opinion leader, then the information is right there, actually posted right now. And we'll make sure to post it on the Facebook page and everything after this again. If you're interested in being a part of the solution, contact us. Because you don't have to always be an icon, like Jason said. It doesn't always take an icon or a legend or even a statement. You could be a star, and you're passionate about wanting to fix the problem. And like you said, sometimes those are the people you need in the trenches. So I know next steps, as far as the council, that's what we want to do, because we've had the conversation. Though we have people from everywhere, it's still somewhat local because of it being just the Capital Ballroom Council. But we now want to have this conversation with different states and their councils and their coalitions, so that we can all collectively get on the same track, talk about solutions, and make some things happen as a unit and as one ballroom.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, our goal is to have a conversation, like Dante said, with all the other councils, so we can really support leadership. You know what I mean? It don't make no sense to just be in a council that just gets together and key and talk about status all day long, but we're not actually doing anything to really help the scene. We're just sitting there. That's my brought up Jamel again. That's what our council really was formed about. Was to really like not just oversee status and who can throw a ball, but to really be impactful in the community and see if we can make a difference. So thank you all again. This has been great. Like Dr. said, this is not going to be the last time. We are always available. You can always reach out to us, call us, email, Facebook us. You can reach us individually. All three of us check the social media pages. So even if you don't have our personal information, hit us up on the Facebook. We all check it. We all communicate. We talk almost every day. So we can really make some things happen on a national level. So again, thank you all. Thank you.
I really applaud y'all too for what y'all doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ballroom Weekend.
And Ballroom Weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite.
No problem. Anytime, Deja. Anytime. Thank you. All right. So, gentle folk.
In the bathroom, drop them down.
Yeah, drop them down. This was great.
This was actually awesome.
Another
to hear all those different point of views and get some real, juicy opinions and solutions and thoughts about what it is. I think that we got some really good information. And I just can't wait to see what these next steps. Can we have a session where we learn how to use tools such as I think that's a great idea. Kenya does a great little number on how to just to bring some laughter to the situation, but he does a great class, really, instructions on how to use Narcan if in all different kind of situations. So I think that's something that we're working on. That's something on our roster of ideas and things that we have like a crap load. This is not, of course, going to be the last time we're just things work slowly. It's just us three making things work. Dante and Kenya have been extremely instrumental in making things happen and making them happen quickly. We love them here. But we really are trying to. This is another reason why we want, if you're interested, if this is your part of your passion, to just,
Yes. Reach out to us. We can always use some help. Hit us up if you're interested. Even if you're not going to be in the council, but helping us like put together like this, because it is really us three doing this all the time. And we all work full-time jobs, but we have a commitment to Ballroom, which is why we're doing this and continuing to do this as often as we possibly can.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. I think this was. Can we use the POL method?
We can. Let's talk. Let's talk afterwards, Monty. It might be some stuff. Come on, POL.
He Monty knows that's another 2-hour conversation.
He took it back to the UHU days.
Okay, he took it back to UHU days.
But I think this was it was a great evening, both panels. And I think it was wonderful to hear so many different opinions and methods of how people feel like that we can change things or what solutions look like, because we know we know it's not one way to do this. If it was, the problem would have always
been solved.
it would have been solved. So
Yeah.
we know we're dealing with a demon that is not easy to just fix. This is a different type of thing that we're dealing with. So we need all the different type of opinions and interests, because what I might know, you might not know, and what I might see, one of y'all haven't seen yet. So it takes all of us. Like I said earlier, it takes a village. But I think it's definitely on the right track. We just got to stay committed. Someone said accountability earlier. When we roll out this thing to have these meetings with these other coalitions and the state-to-state councils and all that, hopefully we get the response and participation back to get them involved and get them on board, because it's going to take all of us, really not in just one area. It's going to take all different areas to really be on the same page. It's going to take ballroom leaders, popular opinion leaders, the influential people to really get involved with this in order for us to really make a change that's going to work.
We have to put in the work. As a team effort. I don't think any of the things that we've done as far as with the Capitol Ballroom Council could have even necessarily flourish as much as we even blew our minds if the teamwork was not there. So we really want other people to come on and bring your ideas and bring your opinions and your creative methods and how we can get these things accomplished in our community.
Thank you. So that's it, you all. Everyone watching, we do 20 questions twice a month. We've done the icon Ricky Allure. We've done Vanessa Frost Ebony. We've done icon Alexis Balenciaga. And next up is the icon.
The blueprint. And nobody gets him to talk, so you better.
This is
yes. So we got him to agree to talk to us. 20 questions. So we're working on that. So please be on the lookout.
I'm excited.
For that coming soon. I'm excited too.
Yeah, everybody is. That was one of the number one names that everyone was saying. Can you sit down? Can you sit down with Whitney? So we
got Whitney to talk.
So thank you, Whitney.
So we're not gonna promise there's no NDAs that have been signed, though. It's the demand.
They've been put through email. They've been put through email. But yeah, definitely be expecting all of our things. Please make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are going to be Facebook, Capitol Ballroom Council, Instagram, Capitol Ballroom Council, Twitter, Capitol Ballroom Council. You can also email us at capitalballroomcouncil@gmail.com. And of course, if
Christian Mingle.
And Christian Mingle. But if those don't work,
we're not
that's going to be a key. You can always hit us up on our personal, but we check that literally every 50 seconds of the day because we literally get things every 50 seconds of the day. So you can also hit us on our personal as well. All our personal Facebooks and Instagrams, and we will definitely respond to you, and make sure that we get your opinion and creativity out. We love you too, Dad. We love you. So just, make sure you hit us up. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you see what the conversation about, joining the conversation, give commentary ideas. We want to hear it and see it.
And if we can't answer questions that you have, we'll get you to someone that can. There's already a time, and we will almost stop everything we're doing basically to get things done. If it's a crisis situation, we don't play. I can say that. I was just the other we'll stop put our focus.
And if you have a friend and you don't know what to do, this is most important. Reach out and say, and let us know what's going on, and we will do everything in our power to ensure that they are getting the help that they need, whatever that may be.
And your privacy is your privacy.
Yes, this is extreme confidential.
Not stress that enough. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is confidentiality, because we understand it. I mean, we work in the field long enough to know it, and just being people that understand stigma and everything else, we know that we want to help you. We don't want to put you out there, nothing else. So we're here.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Thank y'all. This is a long night. But it was good. It was worth it. So
it was worth it. Thank you.
Thanks.